Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined, as ever, by Mr. Matt Turner. And Matt Turner, we come to you in a brand new landscape in the world of Stardom. I have had to pinch myself multiple times because for the first time in what seems like forever, Momo Watanabe is being positioned as a top star.
Yeah, finally, it's been start, stop. We don't know, but now here we go. Here we go. And first of all, let's get the elephant out of the room. Rob Goodwin, take your victory lap. Take your bow, sir. 2024 Cinderella Tournament prediction. Hanan, correct. 2024 Dream Star prediction. Utami Hayashishita, correct. 2024 Goddess of Stardom Tag League prediction. Wing Gory, correct. Folks, we're not done. 2025 Cinderella Tournament, Sayaka Kurora prediction, Rob Goodwin, correct. Now, probably the hardest tournament to predict a winner in quite a long time, not just in Star, but maybe just in wrestling in general. Rob Goodwin predicts Momo Watanabe to win, even to the point, I was just listening to the episode last week when she did make the Final Four, and you were still a little confused, but you did lock in on our monster 4-hour episode about 4 or 5 weeks ago that Momo Watanabe would win. And ladies and gentlemen, spoilers, folks, spoilers.
Spoilers.
For an unbelievable 5-star, Rob Goodwin picks Momo. Give yourself a round of applause, sir. Give yourself a round of applause. But I tell you what, man, what a great tournament. I know a lot of people with the 32 blocks and a lot of unknowns. This is one of, if not the best 5-star of all time. I know I have a lot of people said this might be the most satisfying 5 because of what has set up for the next few years in Stardom.
Sure.
They did a phenomenal job with this tournament. I know for me personally, obviously I started watching the 5-star in 2021, started covering it in 2022. Obviously, Rob, you've been covering the last 5 stars. I always say 2022 was my favorite. 2024 is in second. And going into that Wednesday Corkin show, this was probably in the running with 2021 and 2023. And I love the 2023 5-star. Despite all the injuries, that was a great 5-star. But then you hit that Corkin, and then you hit this final. Wowzers. I don't know where this sits. I think third for me, behind 2022 as the gold medal, and then 2024 probably the silver medal. But I think this is third for me. But how about you, partner? Where does this rank off the top of your head? I still need time to digest this and then maybe go back and watch these over the next few months. But where does this tournament rank for you as far as your all-time favorite 5-stars?
It's interesting because at the start of the tournament, when the names were announced, I was very vocal at the fact that 32 names was too many. And it's something I do stand by. I do think 32 names is too many. However, when you consider the fact that Stardom were faced with their annual round robin tournament, their annual big tournament, without significant firepower in the likes of Mayu, in the likes of Tam, Micah, Yuri, people who have done well in previous tournaments, you sort of felt like Stardom had a little bit of something to prove. And you called it the tournament of opportunity. And all you have to do is look at the tournament as a whole and ask who's been elevated because of this tournament. How many people have been elevated by this tournament? I'm not talking about the winners. I'm not talking about the runners-up or the semi-finalists or even those that reach the quarterfinals. I am talking about in terms of performances, in terms of consistency, in terms of reps. Who has come out of this 5-star better than when they went in? And when the answer is damn near half the roster, I feel like the tournament has done exactly what it needed to do. Even the likes of Uriah Himi, even the likes of a Rian, who ended up with 0 points over the course of the tournament, 0-7 over the course of the tournament. Doesn't matter. They came out significantly hotter than when they went in. Momo Kogo ended up with 1 win, 2 points. Again, ended up hot. You look at Rina, a star, a cemented star for the future. Azumi feels like one of the biggest things in wrestling. Momo Watanabe united the wrestling world in tears as she was finally given the right to reign. And that, for me, is why this has been, ironically, my favorite tournament. I think this has it. As I mentioned before, it went in with its back against the wall somewhat, and yet we've come out of it with 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have been elevated monstrously, to a higher point on the roster, and we've set something up for the future in the main event scene, because we talked about it, Matt, didn't we? Especially when Natsupoi did not make the semi-finals, because we were convinced that was the direction they were going to go, to set up that big baby face for Saya Kamatani. Because again, one big thing that Stardom have got to do is find someone that once Saya has dropped the belt, or once Saya's popularity cools, you've got to find someone that can take up that mantle. It's not fair to just solely rely on Saya Kamatani. And this tournament was a big opportunity for them to do that. And I think they've gone the right way to do it. The final that they set up was perfect. The way that they set up the victory was perfect. And ultimately, you have got a fantastic direction heading into Dream Queendom and beyond. I mean, again, Amisori, tremendous tournament. Bozilla, oh my God, what a week Bozilla's had. Christ alive. You look at Natsuko Tori, you look at Sayaka Kurora, Ai Sakura, Sayarida. All these people have had phenomenal. Azusa Inaba, wonderful tournaments, all been elevated through this tournament. Now, again, I'll reiterate, I do still think that 32 people is slightly too many. However, I mean, okay, Peps on Twitter put a thing up saying, right, 5-star and G1 have both finished now. Here are the people elevated from Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. And it was honestly 3/4 of the roster. The G1, it was literally Konosuke Takeshita and Evil. That was literally it. No one came out of that G1 hotter. And that, I think, has been the beauty of this tournament. Now, has Taro Okada made missteps in his booking? Yes, absolutely. However, his booking overall, I think, has been pretty much home run after home run. We both doubted him when he turned Saya Kamatani heel, when he dissolved Queen's Quest, when he put the belt on Natsuko Tora, when we had another run for Tam Nakano despite going 0-6 in the 5-star Grand Prix. And actually, the more and more that it's been let to breathe and things like that, he's been proved right. Now, I'm sure there'll be more mistakes along the way. I'm sure nobody, as we say on this podcast, nobody bats 1,000. However, he's doing a damn good job. And Stardom, as Bushiroad put out their financials a couple of weeks ago, and you can tell the significance of the Stardom numbers to Bushiroad's financials. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty and the boring details here, but Stardom's success has had a significant boost on Bushiroad's yearly financials. So again, phenomenal stuff. A great tournament that did exactly what it needed to do and more in many cases as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at we want to if you compare the two Bushiroad companies, you look at New Japan, what they've lost over in the last handful of years with AJ Styles and Nakamura and the Good Brothers, and then Okada and Will Ospreay and Kenny and Cody and Hangman, and just their failure to, I don't want to say failure, but they haven't really made new stars. They really haven't made new stars. And then you take Taro Okada, who's never booked wrestling before, loses in a year and a half. Utami, Julia, Mai Sakurai, Mirai, Mayu, Mina, Tekla. Then in this tournament, you have Shuri that's injured, Micah that's injured. And it's like, wow, his back's really up against the wall. And he's really made it his own. You got it. You're absolutely right. Like, has he made mistakes? Sure, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But he's had a lot more hits than misses. And those hits have been those hits have been absolutely out of the park. And if you don't like it from a creative standpoint, which I don't know why you wouldn't, financial standpoint, well, obviously, Rob, we're going to get into the numbers. I mean, the numbers that they did for this final show. And I don't know if you look for the pay-per-view coming up on the 6th in 2 weeks, that they added 2 sections of standing room only. So very well may be the highest Joshi attended show on the Yokohama Budokan in quite some time. So from a financial aspect, he's hitting it out of the park. The way he has been able to elevate Azumi, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe finally giving the proper lighting that she deserves. The fact that now Rina is elevated. Natsupoi, Soriano, despite now Tomoka Inaba, Mayu. They brought back Bea Priestley. Bea Priestley is now signed with Stardom, which I was over the moon for. And what a smart on that press conference. And it was nice for Stardom to finally have an emergency press conference and it not be
leaving.
yeah, because it was just like after the 5-star, we're all like, yes, this is great. And like, okay, we have a press conference. I'm like, oh, come on now. Because remember, All-Star Grand Queendom, Rob, one of the greatest professional wrestling shows of all time. And less than 24 hours later, yeah, Mayu's leaving. Like, oh man, you took out the air of you took the air out of our balloon. What are you doing? So it's like they announced, obviously, and we kind of figured they're going to announce because this show coming up, the next pay-per-view, Stardom to the World, is 2 weeks away. So they're probably going to officially announce some of the matches on the card. Not only did they announce B. Priestley and Saya Kamatani for the World of Stardom Championship, they announced that B. Priestley has signed with Stardom full time. So if you were like, well, B's not going to win because she's not full time, that doubt is now taken away. Now, do I think B. Priestley's going to win this championship? No, I don't, because it's Saya Kamatani. And they have a lot of stuff moving forward. And once we get into the talking about Momo winning said tournament, Rob, there's a lot of stuff in place now for what can happen, maybe for Dream Queendom, maybe for the big Sariism show coming up in March, and where this may lead to for All-Star Grand Queendom. Because I have some fantasy booking of my own, my friend, that once we get to the end of this tournament here, that I do kind of want to run by you. So, and Rob Goodwin, obviously, I did talk to you earlier today. We are, as we do every year, we're going to give our top 5 favorite matches. We're going to give our breakout star. We're going to give our overall MVP. And not only are me and you going to do that, Andy Hedder did text me today. He gave me all of his stats. Not Rob Goodwin. He also gave a stat that only he can do. Not me, not you, not Meltzer, not even great Karen Peterson. He sent in best outfit and best hair. So that he's the only person that is that basically qualifies to give out said award. Maybe the most important award in all of Stardom, Rob.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for that. It's one of my favorite moments of the year. We will also give out our the winner of the Stardom Cast Pick'ems for the 5-star Grand Prix. Thank you to everyone that did enter that. So we'll give that out and I will release all the results as well. I'll go through the way the points worked as well. There has been not controversy. That's not the right word. There's been an issue with one of the submissions, which would have won by a landslide, but they put the wrong thing in the wrong boxes. So we'll talk a little bit more about that once we've gone through the final. Just a quick programming note before we go on to the Patreon and what's coming up over the next week. We are going to have to move feeds. Basically, there has been some sort of issue with the current Stardom Cast feed, so we are having to move. What will happen is I will drop a sort of like a very, very quick update on the old feed. We will rename that as the Stardom Cast Archived whilst we sort any issues out with that. There will be a new feed called Stardom Cast New. So if you could all be as kind as to subscribe to that feed instead, that will be where all future episodes will go. Slowly but surely, we will populate that feed with the old episodes as well. So don't worry, you won't be missing out. This doesn't affect the Patreon. The Patreon feed is absolutely fine. So don't worry about that if you listen to us on Patreon. But there's been an issue with the feed for quite a while, and it's got to a point where it's getting pretty untenable now. So we are going to sort that. So make sure Stardom Cast New, not Stardom Cast Archive, because that will have no more episodes on it at all. So please make sure if you have subscribed to it, you unsubscribe and you subscribe to the new feed, because once all of the issues are sorted with that, we're going to delete that feed to avoid any confusion.
And then we're gonna move all the Stardom Cast archives over in the new feed, because I know we do have, correct, Rob? That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. That's what I mean by we're going to backdate it. I'm going to make sure that it's going to take a while because I've got to do it manually. Because when we swapped feeds, so when I imported the feed onto the new platform, the issues persisted. So I'm going to have to basically do it manually, which is a pain in the keister, but it's something that has to be done. Otherwise, and Matt can attest to this, my sanity just isn't going to hold. So yes, that's going to be a little bit of a nuisance to start off with, but obviously it'll all be a lot easier once we've been able to translate all of those episodes. Yes, every single episode from the old feed will be on the new feed. It might just take a little while for me to get all of the episodes over. I think there's something ridiculous like 300 and something episodes between this, the Marigold Standard, and Talk Joshi. So please bear with me if you don't mind. Anyway, and I apologize, by the way, for those who are watching me on screen. I do keep flicking over here, and that's because Newcastle are currently playing Liverpool, and it is basically a war going on. I'm not going to bother to try and explain it to people who don't watch football, but there is, at the moment, quite a big rivalry between Newcastle and Liverpool with one thing and another. So I've just got the text scrolling down telling me the score. So if you see me get very happy or see me get really sad, that's probably why.
Speaking of Newcastle, Rob, we forgot the winner of our tournament does get a Newcastle jersey.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, Rob, and you have so Rob, obviously this person has requested a Newcastle jersey, and you said you have the winner right there. So can you please tell everybody who won a Newcastle jersey?
Darren Chatton won a Newcastle. He did.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
Sorry, Darren. Yeah, I know.
What a rib.
I know that you thought you were 1 point off. You were literally 1 point off. So very, very unlucky, Darren. But yeah, I'll talk about those episodes. Sorry, those results a little bit later on. But Matt Turner, that is enough waffle. Let's get straight on. What is coming up on the Patreon this week?
Patreon this week, alternate commentary. We're going to drop the alternate commentary on Tuesday because obviously we're recording this on Monday. So we decided to drop this episode on Monday. Alternate commentary that'll be dropped on Tuesday. We will go to Artists of Stardom Championship match from Korakuen Hall as the Prominence Trio, the champions at that time, Rob Goen of Suzu Suzuki, Risa Sayre, and Karuma Haragi, take on the Queen's Quest Trio. We're going to be talking a lot about Queen's Quest today, buddy. Azumi, Sai Kamatani, and Utami Hayashisa, as that is the final alternate commentary for the summer of Saya Kamatani. Also, I was scheduled to record later this week with one Andy Header. We are going to be doing Is It Still 5 Stars as we go back to a match that I deem the greatest Wonder of Stardom Championship match of all time. As Saya Kamatani defends the Wonder of Stardom Championship against one Hazuki. And then Rob Goodwin, I have already recorded it. It is all ready to go. It'll be uploaded onto your feed, I believe, this weekend, as I did a complete review of Sai Kamatani's run in the 2024 5-star Grand Prix. And that will take us, Rob Goodwin, to the end of the month of August. So the end of the summer of Sai Kamatani has been completed. Hope you all enjoyed it. Also, I know this is not on Patreon, but a quick little plug for myself and Andy Header. We are scheduled to record Talk Joshi episode 12. We're going to be talking about the big show in Sendai Girls that took place this week. And I only watched the first match just yet. Yes, Rob Goon, you have your hand up. I know what you're going to say, good sir.
Has Andy watched the actual show? Will Andy have watched the actual proper show?
He has asked me 2 or 3 times, and I said, buddy, the opener. The opener is Starlight Kid and Natsupoi versus Unagi and Oka, which is crazy.
If it's not that show.
The opener. That's not it. Yeah, I got him. And it's funny because on my way home from work, which I sat in a lot of traffic, I listened to the last episode of Talk Joshi, and I was laughing hysterically when he's just like, yeah, I watched the wrong show. And I thought it made for entertaining podcasting material. Andy's just the best. He's really like the nicest guy. Who'll go above and beyond for anybody, and he's helped us out tremendously over the last year and change. So, so I did tell him, like, this is the show. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. I still have to watch the Marigold Show and All In, which I have not watched any of because yesterday was insane in the craziest way. So,
Forbidden Door, you mean?
Yes, I'm sorry, Forbidden Door. So, yeah, I have a lot of wrestling to get caught up on. So, we'll see how that goes. But yes, everybody, that's what's coming out on the Patreon. It's already up on there. What's coming up this week, and then that'll take us into the month of September, where we're probably not going to have a theme. It's just basically however the wind blows. We'll go from there as far as what we record for alternate commentary. Is it still 5 stars? Tag team breakdown. But as always, we're always open for suggestions.
And there you are, ladies and gentlemen, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all our archived episodes and all of that good stuff as well. So make sure to check that out. It's also where we have all of the news, show reviews, show previews, and all of that good stuff for absolutely free. Let's delve into some news then. And one of the things to come out of the 5-star Grand Prix final, and something I think we'd assumed was going to happen anyway, but it has now been confirmed, is that Stardom have announced that they will be returning to Ryogoku Koku Kikan on the 29th of December for Stardom Dream Queendom 2025. Matt, it's going to be a tremendous show, which I know both me and you have already fantasy booked to within an inch of its life, and that's just the white belt picture. But no, this promises to be an incredible show, and it would not surprise me if we see Stardom's highest ever attendance at Sumo Hall due to this show.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. A lot of people are already thinking Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani. I think we're pretty sure that Shuri and Sareed's going to be on here. Basically, the third match in their trilogy. Starlight Kid's still the white belt champion. Is it her versus Suzuki? Is it her versus Azumi? That's a possibility. There's a lot of different ways that they can go, Rob. I mean, and we're still months away. I mean, we are literally 4 months away from this show. So there's a lot of stuff. As I saw Rob rolled his eyes, which meant he's either upset that this show's 4 months away or something happened with Newcastle. So that would be my guess. I'm very good at reading people. That would be my guess, Rob. Good one.
Newcastle have absolutely battered Liverpool for 30 minutes, and Liverpool have just gone up the other end and scored because, of course, they have, because that's football.
What's the score?
It's 1-0. 1-0
Okay.
Liverpool. But yes, going back to actually what's important, this show, with what Stardom have built going into the end of this year, I have every confidence that this is going to be a phenomenal show. You've got a lot of stories that you can go with this Red Belt picture. Obviously, they appear to be holding back with the Red Belt challenge, which is promising because if you remember last year, Micah challenged on the September pay-per-view, which last year was Namba Grand Fight. Obviously, this year it's Saya and B. So maybe they're going to hold off till Dream Queendom. I think they will hold off till Dream Queendom because I think there is a much wider story there than a throwaway pay-per-view one. And obviously we'll get into that in a little bit when we talk about the final. But I think that might be where we are going. I know where I'd like to see the white belt picture go. I know where you would like to see the white belt picture go as well, especially with a little tease from the Wild Heart herself on Twitter that she's not done going after that white belt. Her versus Starlight Kid added to that card would be phenomenal as well. But yes, Stardom have announced Dream Queendom 29th of December from Ryogoku, the 5th consecutive end of year show for Stardom at Sumo Hall. And I did mention it earlier. Matt also alluded to it as well, but we have the top 4 matches announced for the upcoming Stardom to the World pay-per-view, which is coming up on September 6th, live from the Yokohama Budokan. Obviously, we already knew that Saya Kamatani would be defending that World of Stardom Championship against B. Priestley. However, we have now got Starlight Kid defending the Wonder of Stardom Championship against Tomoka Inaba, which again, we saw an official challenge at the 5-star final, which we're going to be talking about. We said last week about how Natsuko Tora will be taking on Mayumi Ozaki. That has been made official for this card as well. And also, again, spoilers for the show if you haven't already seen it, Sari will be making the second defense of her IWGP Women's Championship against Suzu Suzuki. So quite a 4 matches to go into this show with, Matt.
Yeah, and then we have that. I'm sure you're going to talk about a Cork and Hall. They've announced the matches there, so we don't know where the first Goddess Challenge for BMI 2000 is going to wind up. I mean, but this is absolutely loaded. This is the first show that we've had both the red belt, the white belt, and the IWGP defended on since All-Star Grand Queendom. And all 3 of these matches look like they're going to be absolute bangers. I know I had some people tweeting at me on Sunday and earlier today saying they think that Inaba and Starlight Kid should main event because they think that's going to be the better match. And I see that point, but I think Kamatani is just on an absolute tear right now. And B. Priestley's fantastic. And we talked about it when we reviewed their match from last Sunday, that it only went like 12 or 13 minutes. Give this the proper 20 some odd minutes for Saya to tell that big long story that she likes to tell as World of Stardom champion. So, man, I'm super excited. Because even that IWGP, you kind of didn't know where it was going to go until a certain somebody came in the ring after the match, which obviously we're going to get into, and like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. And then, yeah, absolutely, we throw on Tora versus Ozaki, which again, fingers crossed, is some sort of relaxed rules or no rules match, because I just don't see that being, I don't see that being Luthez versus Vern Gagne. I just really don't.
No, Lord, no.
I don't think it's going to go that way. But I mean, we got 4 matches. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Tora can't. The Goddess Championships can't be on the show because Tora's on the show. So yeah, we won't see that there. But regardless, I mean, this show, Stardom to the World, it looks absolutely jam packed. And as I mentioned before, it looks like all but 2 sections are sold out, and they just added, I believe yesterday or today, standing room only seats. So this promises to probably be the highest attended Stardom show in the legendary Yokohama Budokan, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I can see what people are saying about regards to match quality. However, I think B's had a better 5-star than a lot of people are giving her credit for a
100%
start.
agree.
And also, Saya Kamatani is the biggest star in Joshi wrestling in Japan at the moment. So, of course, she's going to main event. I know that there is the argument as well that you are trying to put the red and the white belt on a similar sort of keel. But it's like we said at the start of the show, we are still at the moment trying to find someone to match that star level of Saya Kamatani. And though Momo Watanabe is certainly being pushed in that direction, arguably Natsupoi is, arguably Starlight Kid is, nobody's there yet. So if you've got Saya Kamatani in a title match, it's going to main event, irrelevant of who it's against. Moving on then, Matt, just very, very briefly, you did mention it, but B surprised a lot of people during the press conference that announced the matches for Stardom to the World when she announced that she was going to be full-time with Stardom, at least for a bit. And will be taking part on all of the minor shows as well as the major shows as well. I think it's a great move for her, especially as, when we talked about her coming back to the 5-star, I think she'd only had 2 matches between her release and the 5-star Grand Prix. So the more reps, obviously, is going to be great. She's clearly having an absolute blast in Stardom as well. In fact, the only reason that I thought this wouldn't happen is because obviously she's got a husband and a life in America, and I assumed she would go back to that. However, I don't know what the travel arrangements are or indeed what the inner workings of that is. So basically, in short, I think this is a great piece of business. I think that B will do very well, and I think she will do well to elevate, as she did during the 5-star Grand Prix with the likes of Rina, with the likes of Hannon. She'll be great at elevating some of that younger talent as well.
Yeah, and I think we said even before the start of the 5-star, we hope B stays in Stardom a little bit longer after the 5-star, and then they announced it's her and Kamatani. I'm like, great, at least we're gonna get one more match. And then they announced not only did she have that match with Saya Kamatani and made it official with the contract assignment with her and Saya Kamatani that she's going to be full time in Stardom. So I think this is awesome. I think this is great for her. Again, giving great matches with Hanan. She put over Rina. She put over Hina. In post match promos. This is going to be terrific for her. Now, Rob Goodwin, as soon as her contract, I was asleep when this happened. I had a lot of people message me, both on Instagram and Twitter, at Matt Turner OF, by the way. As far as faction goes, where do you think B winds up? And I know we kind of touched upon a little bit last week because we think that we said she works better as a heel, but there's too many people in hate right now. And I'm going to give my prediction. I think she winds up in Stars because of how much she put over.
Okay.
Because of how much she put over Hanan, I think she winds up in Stars. Some people did say that maybe she winds up in the new Momo Watanabe faction because they were together in Queen's Quest. So that's a real possibility as well. Yes. It's so again, I had that a lot of people asked me that question. I was like, I think hate would be the perfect fit for her. Easy for me to say, but you're right. As we talked about last week, there's I think maybe too many members right now. But I think Stars. I think Stars would be the ideal place for her. But how about you, buddy? Where do you think she winds up?
Yeah, I think Stars is a good shout, especially if they are continuing with that B character that we've seen in the 5-star Grand Prix, where she has been very gracious in defeat and things like that. And obviously having put Hanan over as, the future of Stardom. Same with Rina. Personally, I would perhaps like to see her in part of Mi Vida Loca. Because again, if we're not going to have straight heel B Priestley, I think that sort of, not necessarily tweener, but, that sort of aspect of a character is going to be accented really well alongside the likes of Isuzu Suzuki and Akira Kurogane and a Bozilla. And again, what you've got to think as well, we don't know what's going to happen with Bozilla, and I'm going to sort of talk a little bit about Bozilla and Forbidden Door shortly. But without Bozilla, nine shows out of 10, Mavida Loka is just Suzu and Akira Kuragane. And suddenly that becomes quite problematic when you've got different factions. I don't think that there will be a Momo Watanabe faction until at least Dream Queendom. I'd be very surprised. So, yeah, there's an argument to be made that she could fit in most, with the possible exception of Cosmic Angels.
I was gonna say you don't see her dancing with Natsupoi and running around with Yuna Mizumori drinking pineapple and vodkas.
I mean, she did have the tropical bitch off with Yuna in that first match, so maybe. No, I do think that if they're going full babyface, then Stars makes the most sense. Obviously, they're in the process of renovating Stars as a faction, having just introduced a fourth member with Uriah Hemi. But I think if they are going to lean into the heel aspects without fully turning a heel, I think then Mavida Loka is the perfect fit for her. Again, because their other members are Rina Yamashita, who's not full-time, and Itsuki Aoki, who's not full-time. So you are looking at trying to pad out some of these other factions as well with members that are going to be doing, not just Korakuen Hall, not just the pay-per-views, but we're also going to be doing Sendai Pit and, the Edion Arena, Osaka #2, and, all those different venues as well. So there's no argument to be made for both, but I think it's a good bit of business. I think it's going to benefit Stardom. I think it's going to benefit B as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how long this tenure runs because, again, who would you have B team within the Goddess Stardom Tag League?
Ooh, that's a great shout. Maybe, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see your team with Hina, even though that's God's Eye, because we think that Lady C is probably going to team with Ami Sori.
You'd assume so, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously you'll have Wingori, you'll have Peach Lily, so that kind of takes them. Man, there's a lot of great questions for B, and they're all great. They're all like, nothing will be amiss. There's no faction I wouldn't want to see her in. Maybe EXV because they need the members until Mike and Xena comes back.
That's a good shout, actually. That is a very, very good shout. I think that might be more realistic than Mavida Loka.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we're gonna get into the whole Momo Watanabe thing because that one part with the Izumi, who, Rob, I'm not gonna. I got goosebumped and teary. I know you know what I'm talking about. I got goosebumps and teary eyed. But I mean, if that's the way they go with Momo, I mean, look how long it took for Suzu Suzuki to join a faction. When Starlight Kid was kicked out, they're like of a Wedo type, like, where's she gonna go? Where's she gonna go? Where's she gonna go? I'm like, she's going to a faction that doesn't even exist. So that's one thing that they may do. She may hold up joining a faction till the end of this year, beginning of next year, depending on how long her contract is. But it's interesting to see. I'm over the moon that she is full-time in Stardom because I think that she fit in perfectly. We talked about the match with Kamatani and Sakurai and Honda and that first night with Yuna. I think it's going to be absolutely terrific. And again, she's coming off a run with WWE. Good, bad, or indifferent, and a lot of it didn't have to do, the reason why it didn't get over as well as we'd liked it to be. It didn't have anything to do with her. It didn't have anything to do with, I think, some of the writing, or maybe she just wasn't at the right place at the right time because of how loaded the SmackDown roster was at the time. But at the same time, NXT UK on WWE SmackDown, she has experience wrestling in front of the biggest crowds in wrestling, TV, in wrestling in front of 14, 15, 16,000 people. So you're bringing that experience in over to Stardom. And again, if she's full-time, she's probably going to be in the dojo helping out the younger wrestlers. She's probably going to be at the shows before, after, and during, helping out all the other wrestlers, which is maybe little tricks of the trade that'll help them get to that next level. So this is a great thing for Stardom and a great thing for Bea Priestley, and really a great move from Teru Okada and Stardom signing Bea Priestley full-time.
I mean, to be fair, I think if she teams with anyone in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, it should be with Yuna Mizumori, and they should be called the Tropical Bitches. I think that's a fantastic tag team name.
TB,
absolutely. That wasn't all at this press conference. Stardom also announced, because the schedule waits for no person, apparently, they have an upcoming Korakuen Hall show on September 10th. They have got 4 different title matches to be going on this Korakuen Hall show. Again, the full card hasn't been announced, and that's the same for Stardom to the world as well. But 4 title matches at the top of this Korakuen Hall show. So, first of all, Yuna Mizumori will get that second chance at Meisera's High Speed Championship. That will happen on this card. Hina will defend her Future of Stardom Championship against New Stars recruit Uriah Hemi. Neo Genesis The Artist of Stardom champion Starlight Kid Azumi and Miyu Amasaki will make a defense against the Hate Trio of Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death. And Koguma will have her first singles title match since August 2023 when she squares off with Dark Silhouette for the CMLL Japan Women's Championship as well. So, Matt, not only have we got 3 title matches and what promises to me quite an aggressive singles match between Tora and Ozaki for the pay-per-view, but 4 days later, we've got another 4 title matches as well. And again, we said before, didn't we, that we wanted Korakuen Hall shows to mean something, to be appointment viewing. And that's another thing that I've got to say that Taro Okada has bought in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's any Stardom shows this weekend, so I believe we'll get a little bit of a breather. So probably the Stardom cast next week will probably be us just previewing Korakuen and the pay-per-view. So so folks, I mean, you were probably about to have like maybe a 45-minute episode next week. So that'll if you don't like it, go back and listen to those 4-hour episodes that we did probably every other week for the last 6 weeks, folks.
Oh, grief, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is nice that after this fantastic 5-star, that basically the Stardom roster kind of has the week off. You know, they kind of have the week off to heal and congratulate themselves, which is great. But then we're coming right back with Korakuen Hall, and then even a few days before the big pay-per-view. This is great. This artist match, Rob, with Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, they're all on a completely another level, especially Azumi after coming off the 5-star. On the other end, you have Rina, who is, in my opinion, the person that probably benefited the most from the 5-star Grand Prix. Konami, not that far behind, earning herself a shot at the IWGP Joshi Championship in a match we'll be talking about. And the underlying is the Fukigen Death. You know those roll-ups, those O'Connor rolls, they're going to have you on the edge of your seat. Rob, I obviously won't give my prediction just now for 2 reasons. 1, I don't know who's going to win. And 2, we will preview this show with our predictions next week because I don't know who wins this Artist of Stardom Championship match. However, I do have a really good feeling who's walking out Korakuen Hall as the new high-speed champion.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that Mei Sarah has done wonders for the belt. She has held the division together in what can be what can be described as a turbulent time for the belt, with the new rule set and the lack of challenges and things like that. I think it's time for her to move on. I think this 5-star has proved, even more so than the 2024 5-star, that she's ready for bigger and better things. I think Yuna Mizumori is a perfect person to dethrone her. There's a history there. She was hugely over in that first Korakuen Hall match back in February, I believe, and then again they had a fantastic match in the 5-star as well. So I think it's the perfect time for May to drop it. I don't think she loses anything apart from the belt, obviously, by losing here to Yuna Mizumori, and I think Yuna's got everything to gain as well. So we'll see. We'll probably end up with it wrong and May will win it in about 35 seconds. But we'll see. We'll see. Moving on then, obviously, Forbidden Door happened this week. Now, for one reason or another, I didn't actually end up going to Forbidden Door. Went to Pro Wrestling Eve on the Saturday, which was a fantastic show. Really, really good tag match between the Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And I think it was Sky Smithson and Millie McKenzie, I want to say. It was a great match. Really, really, really good match. And then there was a 6-way, 5-way? 6-way. Billy Starks, Bozilla, Nina Samuels, Rain Leverkusen, Trisha Dora. Absolutely fantastic match. Really, really, really good fun. It wasn't the only time that Bozilla would have fun during this weekend because obviously she was a part of the TBS Championship 4-way. And Matt, I don't know if you've seen the reaction to Bozilla and the entire fully packed O2 arena cheering her name. But I think we might have a star on our hands, my friend, because again, 16 months she has been from her debut in Marigold to where we are today. I've been reliably informed. In Marigold, no one knew who she was. First match, people cheering her, chanting her name. Stardom, first match, people chanting her name. Then goes to AEW. People cheer, chanting her name. GCW, people cheer, chanting her name. Bozilla is over. And good God, has she got that star power, that aura. Now, I'm just going to read to you something that Dave Meltzer has spoken about on the Wrestling Observer Radio today, transcribed by Wrestle Purists. I know you've already seen it because you've quote tweeted this, but I thought it made for interesting discussion because I think after that show today, or yesterday, sorry, as we record, I think it's only a matter of time before Bo is in AEW or WWE. I mean, it's written in the stars. It's more a case now of when as opposed to if she ends up, and it's fully deserved. However, Dave Meltzer says, I think when the match at Forbidden Door was over, Bozilla was probably what most people would be talking about. And obviously because people thought she's going to be the new Stephanie Vaca and WWE is going to sign her. And obviously we know the story of what happened with Stephanie Vaca. She is someone who would be better off spending at least another year or two in Japan, working with Stardom, getting better, rather than coming to the United States right now. But the fact that people have now seen her and that she did get over in this match may kind of ruin that and have her come here when she's not ready. Because the thing with Stardom is she'll get to work several matches a week. And if she were to go to WWE, she wouldn't get that. And if she's going to go to AEW, she's not getting that for sure. So for her long-term career, the best thing to do is to not go anywhere. Interesting thoughts from Dave today on the Wrestling Observer Radio. First things first, again, I'm going to echo what I said before. It's a case of when now, as opposed to if. Bozilla is 21 years old. She has got literally all the time in the world. Now, if I certainly wouldn't begrudge if she were to sign with AEW tomorrow, if she were to sign with WWE tomorrow. I mean, the fact that she's made this significant amount of progress in 16 months is quite honestly baffling. But I think Dave has a very strong point. I think another year, 18 months in Stardom, and you are going to see, quite frighteningly, an even better Bozilla that will then step out in front of AEW and WWE. And the thing is as well, what Dave hasn't mentioned there is that AEW and WWE currently have absolutely packed women's rosters. And whereas she will get matches every single week in Stardom, multiple matches every single week, AEW only run 2 shows a week. And one of those is taped. So she might not even wrestle 1 match a week.
Look at
in
Mina.
AEW. Absolutely.
We love Mina. Yeah.
Julia's champion in WWE and hasn't wrestled in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So there is that certain risk that comes along with it. Now, again, whatever she decides to do, we will fully support her because she's been tremendous. And again, her star will continue to rise. But if I had any say in it whatsoever, I think working in Stardom, working that style with some of the greatest wrestlers in the world currently, I think that would do a world of good for her. Because even with this 5-star run, I would argue that she is a better wrestler now than she was when she left Marigold. And she was a great wrestler when she left Marigold. But I would argue that this short run in Stardom, she is an even better wrestler. And if she continues to absorb everything that she's learning, and if she continues to grow and develop as a performer, it's quite frightening, the ceiling that she has.
And Dave's absolutely right. I mean, again, she can sign one of these companies tomorrow, but I think that if she were to let herself become a bigger star, how much more of an impact would be. I mean, you look, if Julia left Stardom in 2021, would she have done well in WWE or AEW? Sure, because she's Julia. But the fact that her star power was so overpopular that the fact that when she came over to NXT, people knew who she was. And that's going to be the same case with Bozilla. She stays in Stardom. You're absolutely right, buddy. She's going to be wrestling every week. Not only wrestling every week, but wrestling the Azumis, wrestling with or against Suzuki, Soriano, the Shiris, Momo Watanabe, Saida, Hana, and so on and so forth. She's going to be wrestling night in, night out, wrestling the best roster in all of wrestling in Stardom. So then if she does decide to apply her trade over the WWE or AEW in a year and a half, as Big Dave said, it's going to be even a big, massive star. Regardless, I mean, she's pretty much going to write her own ticket. Again, I did not get a chance to watch this show just because my Sunday was insanely jam-packed but I did hear a lot of people were telling me like Bozilla got over like crazy in a match that has Mercedes Moné, one of the biggest stars in all of wrestling, Persephone wrestling for the red hot CMLL, and Alex Windsor, who's coming in with a lot of buzz just signed with AEW just a few months ago, and everybody keeps talking about Bozilla. So I cannot wait to get to watch this match after I watch Marigold, after I watch The Correct Show, wink, Andy Header, for Talk Joshi for Sendai Girls. But I heard this whole entire show was great. I hope this whole entire show was great, and I cannot wait to get into this one. But good on Bozilla. Good on Bozilla, because it's something that is that richly earned, and I cannot wait to see her star rise at just 21, 22 years old, I believe. It's just crazy how great she is and how she's able to connect with the audience at such a rapid rate. Again, we saw it. She got over like crazy in Marigold. She's over crazy in Stardom, and here we are in London, for Forbidden Door. When I understand, got one of the biggest reactions of the entire show. So, man, good on her. I like seeing good people do great things, or great people do excellent things. That always warms my heart. And Bozilla is a great person doing great things. So that's always puts a smile on my face, buddy.
I think what it is for me as well with Bozilla is the fact that she bet on herself. You know, she went to Japan with very little in-ring experience, and to go to a completely different country with a completely different style, with a completely different culture, and to do as well as she did, I think really does speak to the kind of individual she is, the effort that she put in, the way she trained and things like that. So full credit to her. And again, whatever path she ends up taking, I'm sure she's going to absolutely kill it. And again, like you said, Matt, with the talent on this AEW show, you know, Edge, Cope, Christian, you know, Moxley, Omega, Ospreay, Tanahashi, Ibushi, all these people. And one of the names that is being spoken about as high as many others is Bozilla. And full credit to her. And according to Tony Khan, it wasn't until, what was it? Something like the Monday that they knew Bozilla was going to come over. So it wasn't exactly something that has been in the offing for a while. So excellent work from Bozilla.
Hey, buddy, real quick, because I know you watched this show. What were some of the must-see matches from All In? Forbidden Door. Oh my goodness!
What is it with you and All In at the moment?
I'm all in, baby. I'm pro wrestling.
There was a couple of good matches in there. Obviously, the 4-way was great. I think Tony and Athena was really good. The cage match was absolutely bonkers. I quite enjoyed the 3-way tag as well. Brodido, FTR, and the Hurt Syndicate. I wouldn't necessarily bother with Hangman versus MJF.
Really?
Yeah. Just leave it at that, I think. And obviously, Danielson and McGuinness was good as well. Danielson and McGuinness. Saber
both.
And McGuinness.
We usually don't record on Mondays, folks, but we do. But we wanted to get this 5-star review up as soon as possible, because boy howdy, what a great show.
Speaking of great shows, obviously Sendai Girls ran Senjo, the biggest from Zebio Arena, on the 24th of August as well. Stardom participation on this show. We're not going to go through it in too much detail because Matt and Andy are going to cover it on Talk Joshi. And I say that with a big asterisk next to it, because that's if Andy actually watches the right show this week.
I know he listens. I have faith in you, buddy. I have faith in you.
But a couple of things to note. Hazuki took the pinfall in that hardcore tag team match. There was a GIF currently going around of Dash splashing her through a table from a ladder inside the ring, and it just looks absolutely hellacious. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Obviously, Natsuki and Starlight Kid were in the opener. It's nice to see mutual love team again. But the one big thing to come out of this show for a Stardom talent is that Aya Sakura finally dropped the Sendai Girls Junior Championship to Yuna. Yuna's third attempt at the belt. All of Aya's defenses have been against Yuna, so it's fine. It's great that Yuna has finally managed to usurp her. But Stardom are not done with that belt, because a certain Rian came out and challenged for the belt next. And do you know what? For her dedication and her performances in the 5-star Grand Prix, I think this is a great little shot for her to have.
Yeah, Rob, did you by chance see this challenge Like, did you see the interaction they have?
No, I didn't. Is this
From
something
what?
I should go out of my way to seek?
Yeah, hold on one sec. I have we had a couple of our listeners were at the show. They actually gave me the transcript. So it says, I, Rian, what? Challenge you, Yuna, what? For the Sendai Girls Junior Championship, what? And I'm going to win this belt, what? And I'm going to celebrate with my EXV members. Micah, what? Xena, what? Okay, you see where I'm going with it.
I can see where you're going,
Then
yes.
it says in parentheses, kick wham stunner. I don't know what that means, but no, in all seriousness, awesome for Rihanna. And again, what a great 5-star she had. And this is just, again, with 0 points, regardless, great matches with Azumi, Natsupoi, Starlight Kid, Rina, so on and so forth. And now we're throwing her in Sendai Girls, which I think this is the perfect spot for her, because we've seen a lot of Stardom talent working in Sendai Girls. And I think Rihanna has a lot of buzz to her. Obviously, all the buzz is Momo Watanabe, Sai Kamatani, Azumi, Rina, so on and so forth. So I think her working Sendai Girls shows, I think is the perfect fit for her, because she's going to be getting those 8 to 10 to 12-minute matches in Sendai Girls, where I just don't see her on the show coming up on the 6th having like a 15-minute match with Yuna. As much as I'd like to see that, that's probably not going to happen. So that's awesome. Great shout for her. And I think it's great that as soon as the match is over, we already know who the next challenger is. So I like that, because it gives us something to look forward to, gives us something to build towards.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a show I'm very much looking forward to checking out. I know that Sari and Mikari Wata as well was on that card. They'll believe Sari beat her in under 10 minutes, which was an interesting booking decision. Great attendance as well for the Zebio Arena. 3,500 plus, I believe, was the official number announced. So excellent, excellent number for Sendai Girls. It's about time, Matt, we talk about the elephant in the room, that 5-star sized elephant in the room. Of course, we had the finals of the tournament, 23rd of August, night 13 from the Outer Ward City Gymnasium. We go full circle to the venue where we started the tournament, 2,856 people in attendance, which Stardom announced to be a sellout. Now, obviously, this is an incredible number for a whole host of reasons. It's the company's highest ever attendance at the venue, and there's a 60.18% increase on the opening night of the tournament back on the 27th of July. The number also marks the highest 5-star Grand Prix attendance ever. It is the 3rd highest attendance at the building this year, beating out both New Japan's G1 Climax dates at the venue and New Year Dash earlier in the year as well, just to give you some indication of how good a number this is. The only 2 dates that beat this, I believe, were the Best of the Super Juniors and the anniversary show as well. So again, outstanding number for Stardom, and what a way to top off what has been an outstanding tournament as well. In terms of your results, then, they are as follows. 4-way tag match was your opener. Peach Lily, Momo Kogo, and Uriah Hime defeated Emma Maishima and Kikyo Furusawa, God's Eyes, Lady C, and Kyoko Katatsu, and Hate Suzusa, Inaba, and Fukigen Death, with Uriah Hime submitting Emma Maishima with the modified neck scissors in 6 minutes and 9 seconds. We then opened the main card proper with a 6-woman tag team match. The Hate team of Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, and Ruaka defeated B. Priestley and Wing Gory, Hanan and Sayurida. Saya Kamatani pinning Saya with the Star Crusher in 8 minutes and 6 seconds. 5-star Grand Prix Red Stars semi-final match. Azumi defeated Rina with the Azumi Sushi in 15 minutes and 33 seconds, meaning that Azumi goes on to her first ever 5-star Grand Prix final. The Blue Stars semi-final would see Momo Watanabe defeat Sauriano with the Peach Sunrise in 14 minutes and 2 seconds, meaning that she moved on to her second final. 6-woman tag match followed this. The Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora defeated the EXV trio of Hanako, Waka, Tsukiyama, and Rian. Aya Sakura utilizing that Sakurachi against Waka in 8 minutes and 11 seconds. It's a move she has repeatedly done over the last couple of shows. 3-way match. Yuna Mizumori defeated the returning Saki Kashima and Mei Seira, Yuna pinning Saki with the Supergirl in 4 minutes and 51 seconds. In the 6-woman tag team match, Mivida Loka, Suzu Suzuki, Rina Yamashita, and Akira Kuragane defeated Fukuoka Double Crazy, Hazuki, Koguma, and the debuting Dark Silhouette of CMLL, Rina Yamashita pinning Koguma with Splash Mountain in 11 minutes and 3 seconds. Tag team match next, the God's Eye team of Tomoka Inaba and Ami Saori defeated the Neo Genesis duo of Starlight and Miyu Amasaki. Tomoka Inaba submitting Miyu with the Tomoka Stranglehold in 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Future of Stardom Championship match, Hina, the champion, defeated Rana Yagami with the STF in 11 minutes and 14 seconds for her to get V6, Hina that is, and move her reign past 181 days. Saudi then defended the IWGP Women's Championship against Konami successfully to get her V1, pinning her with a wrist clutch backdrop in 18 minutes and 15 seconds. And then in your 5-star Grand Prix final, Momo Watanabe defeated Azumi with the Peach Thunder in 21 minutes and 11 seconds. Matt, we open with the pre-show match, and to be honest, there are going to be matches that we go through in less detail than others, and this is probably one of them. We did see some more chemistry between Uriah Hemi and her New Stars teammate in Momo Kogo, the return of Kyoko Kitatsu as well, but all importantly, ahead of her challenge for the Future of Stardom Championship, it was Uriah Hemi who picked up the win.
Yeah, kind of everybody got a couple things in, and that was basically it. It was a nice to see, these wrestlers, one, free on YouTube. This match was free on YouTube. We get another great shout from Stardom, but in front of over 2,800 people. So you get a really good way to start up the show. But ultimately, this was just getting Uriah Hemi a big win and one of the biggest Stardom shows of the year to kind of heat her up for that match coming up in Korakuen Hall. And it was great to see her and Momo. I'm a big fan of her and Momo Kogo as a team. I hope they are the team for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. But you're absolutely right, buddy. It was great to see Kyoko Kitatsu back. Kyoko Furusawa, she's ever improving. And I completely forgot that your favorite wrestler, Fuking Death, was on this show, buddy. So
there is that.
Yeah, but no, obviously really great stuff. I love the stuff with Kyoto Kitatsu and Zeus Inaba. We've been able to see them kind of go back and forth on certain shows when they're doing God's Eye versus Hate. They have really good chemistry. But you're absolutely right. This was just about getting Momo Kogo and Uriah Hemi a win on this show. 3.5 stars. I thought it was a solid opener.
Great way to open the main card, and obviously to give away for free on YouTube, Hate versus B. Priestley and Wingori, giving us that little bit of a preview of what we are getting at Stardom to the World. We also got a little bit more of Hanan versus Saya Kamatani, although Hanan's main beef does remain with Ruaka and BMI 2000. Matt, what did you think about this? And did this excite you ahead of that championship match at the pay-per-view?
Yeah, that was the whole ordeal. You wanted to get this to get you more excited for B versus Saya Kamatani. I thought it was a solid match. The one thing that completely blew me away was the entrance of Hate. When all the flashing lights, I was like, holy geez, do not watch this match if you're drunk, because that would have put you in a different atmosphere. You would have went to a different dimension to fight Galactus. I thought that was the production of this was just crazy. I mean, it was really, really top notch. I mean, Stardom is doing a great job on all fronts. But this match was just to get you more warmed up for B. Priestley versus Saya Kamatani. My prediction was that B. Priestley was going to pick up a win here, Rob, in order to kind of build a little more momentum. But I thought it was good for Saya Kamatani to get a win, because after winning a lot, she's been losing a lot. I mean, I don't know if she remembered what that was like, but ultimately it was a really great closing stretch between the two Sayas. They have some really good chemistry together. Hanan here looked great. I would love to see Wingori maybe challenge again BMI 2000 for those tag belts. But ultimately, it was Saya Kamatani getting the win on Saya Ida with the Star Crusher. 3.5 stars. Good, sir.
We move on then to the first of our semi-finals, Azumi versus Rina, and they had a great match in the blocks and then topped it here, which seems to be the story of these recurring matches that we've had in the 5-star Grand Prix. I love Azumi. Azumi is a tremendous athlete, and I think over the course of the last 2 years, I think she's another one that has improved exponentially from where she was. And I think our friend of the show, Armani Shoe Exchange, actually said, she's far more now than just the instant replay, for example, or the GIF machine of, in spots done at incredible speed. She's capable of having these excellent, well thought out storytelling and narrative driven matches. And this was another one. And the moment that Rina started pulling out the Tiger Lily, I was like, surely not. It's a semi-final. Surely the moment she does this is for, a championship or for the actual 5-star Grand Prix proper. She did hit the vertebraker, and it's quite wild, really, that Azumi ultimately goes through in this match, and yet we find ourselves talking about Rina because I'm not even going to bother beating around the bush. She's my breakout star of the tournament. I think she's probably most people's breakout star of the tournament because she just has not missed in any single match. Whatever has been put in front of her, she's continued to defy expectations, surpass even the highest of expectations. In this match, one of the matches of the tournament, was so phenomenally told. You've got, the brilliant work of Rina against the speed and the brutish submission game in this match of Azumi. I thought they worked together phenomenally. And yes, we didn't get Azumi versus Natsupoi, but this more than makes up for it. Phenomenal match.
Yeah, we mentioned last week, boy, we thought this was going to be Azumi versus Natsupoi based on really two main things. One is they had that really fast match about a month or so ago. Like, why would they have that match go around 3 minutes to match everybody wanted to see him? Like, they're clearly going to put that in Ota Ward in order to draw tickets. And then they pivot and put Rina. Now, is this something that they changed on the fly? We don't know. Is it a possibility? Sure. Maybe they thought, you know what? We knew that we're going to have Azumi in the finals. Instead of Azumi beating Natsupoi again, let's do Azumi versus Rina because Rina has proven to really, really up her stock in this one. And let's see if she's going to be a ticket draw. Not only was she a ticket draw, because again, as you mentioned before, partner, sold out building. For majority of this match, they were chanting Rina's name over Azumi. It wasn't like they were booing Azumi. They were just some loud Rina fans in that building. Then once we got towards the end, everybody was cheering for Azumi and just wanted a really great match. And again, I thought this was going to be Azumi versus Natsupoi. We got Azumi versus Rina. I wasn't disappointed because I was just like, man, I wanted to see Azumi versus Natsupoi, but we have this. So let's see what happens. This reminded me, Rob, if you remember in 2022 when Kairi came back. We knew we were getting Kairi versus Saya Kamatani for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. They made that abundantly clear when Kairi came back that she wanted to win back the white belt. And we were supposed to get it at Stardom X Stardom. And then Kairi, I think 2 days before, came down with COVID. And they gave us Saya Kamatani versus Himeka. And then we eventually got Kairi versus Saya at Gold Rush. Saya versus Himeka, in my opinion, was a better match. Like Himeka really stepped up to the plate. Even though Kairi was the bigger star, that was the bigger match. So as this match was starting, I was like, man, I wonder what this Azumi but Natsupoi match would look like. And if they were to run that in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know if it'd be better than this one. This was one of my favorite matches of this tournament. This was fantastic. This run that Azumi has been on for this entire tournament, Rob, especially the last 2 shows, is unprecedented. I don't think what Azumi has done match quality wise and business wise, and what she's done for her and her opponents these last 4 matches has ever been done in pro wrestling before. Myself and Andy Header, we did one of our Patreon episodes we released a few weeks ago, is who had the best final night in the history of the 5-star Grand Prix. And it's subjective. Micah last year was great. Shuri 2021 was great. Julian 2022 was great. What Azumi did on this night, and then what she did a couple days before in Korakuen Hall, unbelievable, Rob Goodwin. In my opinion, I'm going to show my hand. Azumi had 4 match of the year candidates in about 4 days, 4 5-star matches. Rob Goodwin, this is 5 stars. This is Rina's best match. Rina was phenomenal in this tournament. There was so much buzz about her, but the fact that this was the best match that she had, I mean, obviously she upped her stock, and Azumi made sure as well. This was great stuff. I figured, because I wasn't sure, I was like, I think it's going to be Azumi and Momo Watanabe. And then when Azumi came out without the light-up jacket, I was like, clearly, because why do you not wear the light-up jacket in front of a sold-out show, one of the biggest shows of the year, because you're coming back? And the way this match built towards the end, I was like, oh my God, Rina's going to win. We've seen her tease the vertebraker before, but she's never won a match with it, and she hit it. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then Azumi winds up kicking out. There was some great stuff, like Azumi with the double stomps, like the one she does the tree of woe double stomp and the top rope double stomp, and then going to the arm and just the reversals back and forth between the two of them. Azumi borrowing a page from Starlight Kid's book about a week ago, countering the Pink Devil with the code red, I thought was great. And then she goes for the Azumi Sushi. I'm like, oh, this is a really good finish. And then Rina stacks Azumi. And then a 2.9 count. I was on the edge of my seat for this entire match, especially towards the end. Azumi finally hits a destroyer. That goes for a 2 count. Azumi goes for the double underhook destroyer. We do see that gets countered into the vertebraker for the 2.9. I was like, where do we go from here? She goes to the top rope. She hits the Joshi dropkick. She points up to the sky to her mentor and friend, Hana Kimura. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to win this with the Tiger Lily. And the way they drawn out the Tiger Lily, not once, but twice, she goes for it. And then Azumi puts all of her weight on the ground, basically saying, no, you're going to have to you're going to have to really pick me up if you're going to want to hit this. I mean, the way that Azumi is holding on to Rina's leg and then Rina's hitting her. And every time she hits her, Rob, the grip loosens. The grip loosens. The grip loosens. And it's just these little things. This is a great next level match, but there's these little things, Rob, that have me on the edge of my seat. And then she picks her up and then she goes for again and then can't get it. And then she comes back and Azumi finally gets out. She hits that double underhook destroyer after so many more 2.999 counts. My heart was in my chest, my throat, the whole nine. Finally hits the destroyer, has the Azumi Sushi. I'm like, this has to be the finish because this is the crescendo of the match. Hits the 3 count. This is not only a 5-star match, this is one of my favorite matches of the tournament and probably my top 10 or 11 matches I have seen this year in professional wrestling. This is absolutely next level. And kudos, Rob Goodwin, whoever's idea it was to put Rina all the way through, because this was great. Rina, take a bow. Unbelievable tournament. She is on another level. And again, from 2,800 people, was she a draw? Absolutely. How was the match? Next level. People were chanting her name more than Azumi again until the end, which is saying something because Azumi's chants a few days before in Cork and Hall, I thought it was going to blow the roof off the building. The fact that Rina got just as good, if not better, response than Azumi in this match, Rob, unbelievable, phenomenal stuff. Take a bow, ladies. Take a bow. Again, 5 stars from me, buddy.
This took me completely by surprise. I was always really intrigued as to how Rina was going to do, because she'd been positioned as such a huge star going into this semi-final. And there have been so many moments in her big matches this year. And, you know, there was points at the Starlight Kid match where you'd convinced yourself that she was going to win. And those, you know, it's all very well saying she's great in the ring. She's got that charisma. She's got that star power. She's got that aura, which of course she has. But that ability to make you believe and the narrative that she is able to weave in these matches at 18 years old is just, it's wild. It's so incredible. And again, you know, I was talking to a friend of the show, Andy, at Pro Wrestling Eve, and he said when she went for the Tiger Lily, he was like, no, don't do it now. I want to see it for a championship. And I think that's what they're going to do. The moment that she does successfully hit that Tiger Lily is when she's going to win a championship or when she's going to win the 5-star Grand Prix or the Cinderella tournament. Her first big win is going to be done with that. And I think that's a really special connection that she has.
It's going to be a big deal. It's going to mean a big deal because she's only teased it a few times. She teased it on Starlight Kid for the white belt. She teased it here on Azumi. It's going to be a big deal, Rob. Again, maybe she does win the Cinderella next year. That's a good point. I mean, they have a lot of things in place, and it just seems like they have more than one direction to go. I think just about every direction is going to be an absolute home run. And again, you got to give Terry Okada so much credit. So much credit for who wasn't in this tournament because they were injured or because they went elsewhere. And then, I mean, new stars right here, Rob. I mean, new stars.
I mean, that was the whole point of this tournament, as we mentioned. And again, Rina is probably the most elevated star in this entire tournament. And again, is someone that you could put atop pay-per-views and people are going to support her. And she's a heel. She's a bratty teenage heel. And yet she's one of the most over people on the roster. That just, again, pays testament to just how good Rina actually is. And yeah, again, I think this is only going to increase her stock tenfold. Moving on then, Soriano against Momo Watanabe. And I want to bring something up to you. And this was Adriana on Twitter, who pointed out the levels of hate interference. So obviously we talked about Momo and Sadi at Corrigan Hall and how that was a bona fide 5-star match, and then you had all the interference at the end. And then you look here, you had interference here. You had attempted interference in the final. Rina's matches, no interference at all. And I must admit, and credit to Adriana, I think it's Adriana on Twitter. I will find it so I can shout her out properly. I hadn't noticed this at all. And once she'd pointed out, I was, oh my God, they didn't interrupt a single one of Rina's 5-star matches. They didn't. Why are they doing it so much for Momo? And then you start to unravel all of this. You know, Ruaka constantly, almost accidentally costing Momo the match. You know, the fact that she almost cost her against Sari, the fact that she almost cost her here again. Something's going on. And is this going to be how they turn Momo Watanabe face? Is there a lack of trust in Momo Watanabe that they do have in Rina? They think, oh, well, Rina's going to get the match done. Momo isn't going to get the match done without us. It's a really interesting thought, and it's something I'd never thought about. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Rob Goodwin, and again, I thought about, as soon as the final was over, I thought about you and how upset you were. Not upset, but like, yeah, there's a 5-star match with her and Sari, but the interference was a little bit too much. And I was like, now you know the reason why, Rob Goodwin. Now you know, because that moment, and again, wrestling is all about moments. That moment that happened in the final, we'll talk about, because I definitely want to get your take on it, but I think that it wouldn't have meant as much had the interference not been there. So another thing about this match, Rob, is that Soriano could have used the baseball bat not once, but twice. And she never did. She never did. She basically just used the baseball bat for a German suplex, which I'd never seen before. So that was a really cool visual. But I like how this match starts out when Momo really trying to stalk Soriano, try to use those kicks, and Anu goes to the dragon screw, locks in the figure eight early on, trying to take away one of the biggest weapons, or probably the biggest weapon from Momo Watanabe, that kick. I really enjoyed that. Soriano is really, really ramping up her offense early on in this match very much, Rob, like we saw in the match with Suzu Suzuki back in Cork and Hall a few days ago. Eventually, the match goes to the apron, which that's not a place that you want to be, because Momo hits that draping head kick and then an apron B driver. And then Soriano comes back with a fisherman suplex on the floor. Really great stuff there. We get back to the ring, a great form exchange between the two. Soriano is a really great underrated striker. Soriano actually wins the forearm exchange, goes to the top rope. Momo Watanabe hits the top rope, spinning Uranagi. I thought that was great. Momo goes to the top rope for the what we're assuming is the top rope Samato. However, she gets caught, and Soriano is able to come back with a top rope counter move of her own. That beautiful top rope Frankensteiner. Really enjoyed that. Soriano is laying on the German suplexes. She goes for a dragon suplex. However, Momo Watanabe reverses the dragon suplex and properly plans Soriano on the top of her crown. Rob Goodwin with the tequila sunrise. I thought that was great. Momo Watanabe locks in the reverse chicken, or locks in the crossface chicken wing, which she did get over really well in this tournament, but Soriano was able to basically take a page out of what Momo just did and is able to do a standing switch, and then finally hits that dragon suplex that she was looking for earlier on. I thought that was great. Momo Watanabe escapes the Potter ring, and then here comes the baseball bat. She comes in, she goes to hit Soriano with it. Soriano hits the jump up enziguri. It looks like that she's going to hit, and then she throws it down and the crowd pops. Momo Watanabe eventually comes back with it, and then she uses the baseball bat, but uses it as for the German suplex. I thought that was great. That would have been a terrific finish. However, Momo kicks out. Momo comes back with a buzzsaw kick and a punk kick. She follows that with the tequila sunrise and the peach sunrise combination for the 3 count. 4 3/4 stars, an end of the tournament to 1 Soriano, and now we have our final set. Momo Watanabe becoming only the 3rd wrestler to make it to the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. Oh, there's 4? It was Yoko Bito, it was Maika, it was Momo Watanabe.
Utami.
Oh, that's right. Utami made it with 2018 and 2020. That's right. Yeah, Utami. That's right. 4th wrestler to make it to the. I figured I would have known that. You know, I can literally tell you. I last year, folks, you remember, I think once a week I did a review of every single 5-star final, but becoming the only 4th wrestler to make it to the finals twice. However, will she be the first wrestler to go 0-2 in the finals folks, I'm sure you know, but we're going to tell you about it in just a moment or two. But I thought this was a phenomenal match. Soriano, another wrestler, her stock rose a whole ton in this tournament, considering the fact that she was pretty much a main eventer beforehand. Very interesting now where they do with her, Rob, because I don't know if her or Natsupoi fit in to the red belt or white belt scene just yet. What I would do is I'd have them win the tag league and then have them win the tag belts and then have that proper run. We never really seen them have, because you remember in 2023, Natsupoi got injured, and then they never won the belts back. You know, they had some great matches. They were the MVPs, in my opinion, of last year's Goddess tournament. Had, in my opinion, still the best tag match I've seen in wrestling all this year at the conversion against Wingori. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with them. That would be, if I'm gonna armchair book, that's what I would do. I'd have them win the Goddess tournament and then win the belts, and then have them go on a really long run and even start to challenge maybe Thunder Rock, Mayu and Io as the longest reigning with the most successful title defenses of those belts.
Yeah, I think depending on what they're doing at Dream Queendom, if they are really loading the top of that card with Momo and Saya, and then potentially, again, fancy booking Starlight Kid and Hazuki for the white belt. You've got potentially then Sari and Seori for the IWGP Women's Championship. And then you've got Seori Poi versus potentially BMI 2000 as well. That is a very, very good 1, 2, 3, 4 punch. Just going back to my comment about Adriana, it is at Cosmic Adri _ on Twitter. So go and check her out. But her tweet is, I quite like the theory that Hate doesn't trust Momo to win matches without their help, further proved by the no interference in Rina's match, but the abundance in hers. This is what will get Hate to turn on Momo, thus setting up face Momo versus heel Saya. That's a theory I really like. I think that could be where we are heading. And again, it was only when I saw that tweet that I was like, oh my God, how had I never seen that before? So that could be something we are looking to, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for it.
Moving on, then, we move to a 6-woman tag, Cosmic Angels versus EXV. And Matt, it does look like we could be heading for Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura versus Rice or Bread for one of the 85 New Blood shows we've got booked for October.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny. I think that we kind of do the reverse jinx. We said, you know, a few months ago, boy, we never get a New Blood show anymore. Then we've been getting one every like 2 to 3 weeks. Then I'm like, okay, there's obviously going to be a calm down of it because we have the 5-star. And now we have, I believe, 3 of them in the month of October, I think is pretty much what's planned. But this match was really kind of almost 2 matches in one. You had like a mini match with Natsupoi and Rion, which I thought was great. And then you can clearly tell where they were going as they were queuing up Aya and Sayaka to challenge Waka and Hanako for those new blood tag belts, which is really cool because, again, this is one of the biggest shows of the year for Stardom, not only attendance-wise, but just like buzz-wise. And the fact that they use this vehicle to set up a new blood tag team championship. So I really enjoyed that. They really didn't waste any of these matches. Really, none of these matches were throwaways. Everyone had something. Agreed. They had something to do. They really had something to do. And again, you got to give the Stardom booking committee a lot of credit because they built this card up to like everybody has something to do. Again, Rion was terrific. I love Hanako, Waka, and Rion. Whoever comes out of Cork and Hall in 2 weeks' time, partner, as the artist champions, I would love to see this EXV trio be the next challengers. I thought they were terrific. Natsupoi is obviously the biggest star here. I mean, she gets the biggest cheers, obviously. But ultimately, though, it is Aya Sakura pinning poor Waka with their version of the roll-up. 3.5 stars. Again, solid enough stuff, but ultimately what you did here is it's a vehicle to sell more tickets and possibly more views for your new blood tag team championship. My guess would be the main event of the next new blood show coming up.
Moving on then, 3-way action. Not a lot to talk about considering the match only went 4 and a bit minutes. However, on the flip side of that, it's great to see Saki back. And again, we got to see Yuna Mizumori in this setting, reminding us that she can adapt and do really well. And again, this was what we were talking about coming out of that Corrigan Hall show back in February when she had that blinding match against Mei Seira. She really does suit this style of wrestling, mixing that power with that, quite honestly, quite shocking speed. You don't really expect it of Yuna Mizumori at all, but the fact that she's able to keep up is well, commendable, to be perfectly honest, when you consider May Sarah is one of the quickest on the roster. I thought this was a good little preview. Again, like you mentioned, Matt, no wasted motion at all in any of these matches, really. And Yuna Mizumori officially made her challenge for the high-speed title at Korakuen here.
Yeah, you forget how much you miss Saki Kashima. We haven't seen her at all. She comes in, new gear, got the new coat, and I'm like, oh man, this is great. Good old Saki Kashima. We knew this was kind of going to be an unofficial high-speed three-way, and that's what it was. Really great stuff with May and Yuna. Saki coming in, trying to steal those wins, Rob, because you never know when it's going to happen. Great, really great near stuff, like with the Kishi Kasai that she almost got Yuna with. I thought this finish was so creative. And this match went less than 5 minutes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. They told a really good story, but it was May Sarah with the shooting star roll up, and then all of a sudden here comes Yuna out of nowhere with this literally glided like Superman with the Superwoman catching the legs of of May Sarah to get the 3 count. I thought that was great. I figured Yuna was gonna get the win here, and then we were gonna get the challenge at Korakuen Hall. That was really telegraphed and really where they needed to go, considering that Yuna pinned May in the 5-star bracket and then gets another win here again on one of the biggest shows of the year. I thought Saki Kashima played her role perfectly. You knew what you were going to get with her. We got it in spades, and you're just like, oh man, I really miss Saki Kashima. She just plays that comedic role so well. I thought this was terrific. 3 3/4 stars. If the plan for this match was to get you excited for Korakuen Hall, job well done. I'm really looking forward to that match coming up on, I believe it's the 10th of September, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. As we're recording, this is the 25th wrap. So we are 4 months away from Santa Claus coming down the chimney, buddy. So the Christmas is 4 months. 4 months from today, buddy. 4 months from today. So I hope everybody, I hope Santa's watching. So I hope you're on the nice list.
Moving on, 6-woman tag team match: Mavida Loca versus FWC and Dark Silhouette. Matt, obviously Dark Silhouette's debut in Stardom. How do you think? First, she melded with Fukuoka Double Crazy, and what were your thoughts on the match itself, especially the little nuggets between Suzu and Hazuki?
Yeah, I've never seen her before. Again, I always make mention like Lucha, 100% Lucha is kind of not my cup of tea. I just don't really get it. And again, that's I think the athletes are great. I like it when wrestlers put Lucha stuff into their moveset, like an Azumi, like an Eddie Guerrero, like a Starlight Kid. I just don't understand Lucha all that much. First of all, they work on the opposite side. It's the only country that works on the opposite side. Again, I have all the respect in the world for them because they're phenomenal athletes, and I have trouble tying my own shoes. With that being said, I thought Dark Silhouette was fantastic. I've never seen her wrestle before. I thought she worked really great with Akira and the chain wrestling in the beginning. I thought her and Rina, really great stuff. But Suzu and Hazuki, that's what we were here for. I thought there was some really terrific stuff. And then eventually, once you saw the Mila Vita Loca kind of getting the advantage of the match, FWC just came in and cleared house on everybody. It was almost like a mini handicap match, and it didn't matter because Hazuki and Kagama were on their stuff as per usual. They are such a great tag team. Ultimately, though, Hazuki, I love it how like everything's ramping up, and then you think Hazuki's in the ring, you think she's going to go for something in the ring, and she's like, no, I'm just going to do a suicide dive and take everybody out. Like, she's just so frantic, like so awesome. Eventually, we get a mini match with Rina and Kagama. Kagama almost steals one with the Kuma roll, but ultimately is Rina Yamashita with some brutal strikes on the bear, putting the bear down with that splash mountain. Excellent stuff. 3 3/4 stars for me. But yes, I definitely want to see another Hazuki versus Suzuki match sooner than later, good sir.
Moving on then to a tag match that we thought was going to set up a Wonder of Stardom Championship match, and indeed it did. Tomoka Inaba and Amisori defeating the Neo Genesis team of Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki. Matt, again, little hints between Tomoka and Starlight Kid. What they are going to produce at Stardom to the World is going to be very, very special if this and their match from the start of the 5-star is anything to go by.
Yeah, again, we kind of figured, all right, this is what's going to happen. They're using this. Again, there's this vehicle. No wasted matches. Again, they're using this to set up for their big show coming up in 2 weeks. And we figured, okay, it's going to be Tomoka getting a win over Miyu. Halfway through the match, I was like, are they setting up Amisori versus Starlight Kid? Because that was a lot of this match was Amisori's exchanges with Starlight Kid. And Rob, I don't know about you. I really want to see that match because they were excellent. Eventually, we get a little bit of exchanges with Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba, which is great. You know that match is going to be terrific. And then Ami and Starlight Kid kind of take each other out, and we get a mini match with Miyu and Tomoka. Really great stuff back and forth. Miyu really showing great fighting spirit, really fighting through all the abuse that Tomoka Inaba put her through. She hits a pop-up DDT and a hammerlock DDT for a 2 count. She goes for the Tenzai. However, Tomoka Inaba is able to roll out of that into the ankle lock, and then she rolls her into the ring for the Inaba stranglehold. I love this finish where Starlight Kid is so close. You can see her. She's getting there, Rob. She's getting there. And then Ami Sourei just pulls her back. And then Miyu's like, Starlight Kid's like, hang on, hang on. There's this one part, and me and Andy had done this a ton of times in tag wrestling, where there's in the submission hold, and I will go and grab him, or he'll grab me and pull him towards the ropes. And they get ever so close. Starlight Kid is right there. They're touching fingertips. It was the drama. It was these little things, Rob, the moments. And she's like, oh, and then Ami Sourei, who's the biggest badass in this match, just pulls her back, pulls her right back, and then Miyu Amasaki is forced to tap out. I had it at 3 3/4 stars, Rob, just because of how much I enjoyed that finish. I bumped it up to a 1/4 star. 4 stars for me. Again, ultimately, very much like Saya, are the opening tag match with B and Wingori versus the Hate Trio of Saya and BMI 2000. The whole idea for this was to get you excited for the championship match coming up in 2 weeks with Tomoka and Starlight Kid, and that's exactly what they did. Again, really great stuff. Starlight Kid and Ami Sourei, that's a match I really want to see. However, Rob, I guess we'll settle for Tomoka Inaba and Starlight Kid in front of an almost sold out. Again, they just released standing room only tickets for the Yokohama Budokan, so I'm super excited about that.
I'm really intrigued to see what they do with Ami Sourei now, because Ami Sourei's had a phenomenal tournament up until the last 2 shows, really. Ami Sourei was my MVP of the tournament. In my opinion, she was certainly MVP of the block stage. But at the moment, I would argue that the big belts are tied up now. At least, Dream Queendom is tied up. Do you think you see Ami Sourei sort of held off until after Dream Queendom? Do you see her as a potential filler defense on the road to Dream Queendom? Obviously, we've got historic crossover, but there aren't ordinarily Stardom championships defended on those shows. But again, they might make an exception. You've got Crimson Nightmare coming up as well in October. Do you see Ami Sourei being a filler defense, or do you think that they will wait post Dream Queendom for something with Ami?
You just gave 2 options, in my opinion, Rob. They're both the right answer, because why not do Starlight Kid versus Ami Sourei on Korakuen for the white belt? Again, Korakuen Hall, we've been saying for years they need to give us something important, and they've been giving us a lot important. Saya versus Suzu, Saya versus Tam. I mean, they're giving the 5-star. They've given us so much great stuff that why don't you do Starlight Kid versus Ami Sourei on the road to Dream Queendom at a Korakuen? Or maybe she's the V1 or V2, whether it's Azumi, Hazuki, or Starlight Kid is still the champion. Maybe you do it after there. I think either way will work, because Ami Sourei, Rina did not do what she did in this tour. Ami Sourei is the breakout star of this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, agreed.
And she still is for many people. I buy her as a main eventer. They can literally put her and Sai Kamatani on the main event of a Korakuen Hall show coming off the show after the 6th. I'm like, yep, that's going to sell 1,400 tickets. No problem. Ami Sourei is now in the main event scene. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her, but they have a lot of momentum. And a lot of that to do with Ami Sourei. She sat on the sidelines for about a year, and she came in, new look, or not a new look, but basically upgraded her look, evolved her look, Rob, as I believe you and my daughter Lily would say. I still don't understand what that means. Maybe one day I'll be hit. Maybe one day, Rob, I'll be groovy.
You'll be groovy. Absolutely.
Groovy, like you 2 kids. But no, I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing with Ami Sourei, and I would love to see her in Starlight Kid for that Wonder of Stardom Championship match. But regardless, where they go with it, it's a win-win situation, because that's what they set up in this tournament, is a lot of win-win situations.
Moving on then, our third from the top, Hina versus Rana Yagami. Rana Yagami, someone who had a really understated 5-star Grand Prix, just solid matches all the way through the block. And Hina, again, someone whose stock has risen, and another great title defense for Hina, Matt, here.
Yeah, we actually almost forget about this match happen on the show because of the 3 5-star matches that we had. And then obviously the match we're going to talk about in a little bit with Suri versus Konami. It's just like, oh yeah, this match was really, really good. Just as good as their match from All-Star Grand Queendom back earlier this year. I mean, this is really great stuff. I like it how we get an armbar exchange between the 2, and then Rana gets the better of that. She starts breaking down Hina's arm, and then Hina really works that STF in. And I made mention, I think the last 2 shows, about how Hina's really bringing that STF. Like, she's using it a lot more. The psychology makes sense. How she builds to it makes sense. And I would love to see her get a win with that. Because, again, one of the many great things about Stardom is these championship wrestlers, they have your submission finish, the ultimate finish, and a roll-up finish. And we know now Hina has added the Mad Splash in to her arsenal. We know the Ghetto Clutch has been her go-to for years and years. And now all of a sudden, Rob, we have this STF. And she debuted it before, but I don't think it ever got a win with it. And she got the win here, but they're really, really great stuff here between the two. Like great kicks, great forearms. Like Ron is really blitzing Hina. And it's looking like to put her away, but Hina uses that judo background to almost using that judo to counter the strikes, which I really like that. Hina hits the Hina special and then the Ghetto Clutch for a 2 count. Rana comes back. Great fighting spirit from Ron in this match. Big head kick. That would have been really cool if they teased that as a knockout finish, because the way she hit that and the way that Hina sold it, been really cool. They're like, no, it might be a count out, but that scored her a 2 count. She goes for the beach strike. Hina ducks that. She hits her version of the big ending, and then she goes for 2 count, but Rana rolls through the parrot. Then she gets her in the paradiddle. I thought that was going to be the finish. That scored her a 2.9. Hina then hits the Northern Lights jackhammer and then locks in the STF. Really great stuff back and forth. And then it's a different variation, because as she's going for the ropes, the hand is free and she brings the hand in almost like using her Rana's own arm to choke herself out in the STF. I really like that. Almost like a modified STF. Really great stuff. My one little worry about this match was on this loaded card, Rob. Maybe this match wouldn't have gotten as much time because of what we have. 11 minutes I thought was great. I thought maybe they would have went like 7 or 8 and still would have had a great match. This was fantastic. 4 stars for me, good sir.
Yeah, it was the sort of the blow-away match. And by blow-away, I mean sort of the breakout match, the one that sort of surprised. Because we all knew sort of what we were getting in the next match in Sadi versus Konami. Obviously, we knew what we were getting from the 5-star matches as well. And you're right, this match almost got a little bit buried under the avalanche of matches that we had here. And ultimately, I think these two women proved why the future of Stardom is so bright. Because this won't be the last time that Rani Yagami challenges for this belt, and I don't think Hina is anywhere near done in this reign. We've talked ad nauseum about how much this reign has done for Hina in terms of her confidence, in terms of her poise, and in terms of her ability to lead matches as well, which is why this match with Yuria Hime, which obviously was announced after this match, Yuria Hime coming out and making the challenge. And that's why I think that Hina is going to do a wonderful job there, and why I'm so excited to see that match with Hina leading someone who is only a couple of months into their Stardom career. So a really, really good match, and one you should absolutely check out. Speaking of matches to check out, the semi-main event, Sari and Konami, who I think it's fair to say, Matt, picked up where they left off in their 5-star Grand Prix match. Now, Sari, who seems to be just the biggest heel in Japan at the moment, like Stardom fans hate her, and it is brilliant. It's cultivated beautifully by Sari. And Matt, here she just hit a little bit harder, didn't she? We spoke about that Momo Watanabe match and how the forearms she was throwing, were harder even than Momo was hitting. And again, I think here there was just a little bit too much momentum behind Sari, even with the interference, for Konami to deal with.
Yeah, first of all, this render looks like that Konami's spraying her hair, doesn't it?
It does, yes, it does.
It looks like she's getting ready for a night out in the town. But I mean, this was great. I mean, we knew it was going to be great because of how great their match was on night 1. Now we're going more steam, and they have more time to play with than the 15-minute time limit. I mean, we get a violent start between the two. We get some great Sari's on the offensive early on. Tor trips Sari up, and then we get a fight in the crowd once again. Then we got Miku Kanai. She's still there. Chi she's still there. Great stuff there. They're into the chairs, and this crowd is molten hot. Again, folks, this is match 9. We're like 3.5 hours into this show, and this crowd was very much like Korakuen, was up for everything. This was a long show, and by no means did it feel long. Like I mentioned, every match had its place. And this match this got violent, and it built and built and built. And Konami gets the advantage, and she's in the ring, and she's kicking away at Sari, and the crowd is absolutely loving it. Sari comes back with the forearms, and they're properly booing her, and she does a great job when she's on the advantage, really just looking so smug, and then yelling at the crowd, getting proper heat. And then Konami just comes back with some forearms and some knees. We get a German suplex exchange. Sari hits the second rope foot stomp, and then it goes to the top rope, hits the top rope foot stomp. And I like how she hits the one on the second. And then instead of going for the cover, she goes to the third, and she just pauses, Rob, as she's sitting there, and she just kind of looks. she just kind of looks, and then like it's just that smug thing. You get little moments. She milked the crowd, so when she hits it, everyone's like, "Boo!" Again, getting proper heat. Excellent stuff there. Konami comes back with a German suplex, and it's not one but two buzzsaw kicks, because why not, Robin? Those two were,
because why not?
Yeah, I mean, these two, I hope they took each other out for beers afterwards, because these two waylaid in each other. I mean, really great stuff. Sorry, it's your Nagi for a 2 count as we get some hate interference. We get the hate chair to Sorry again, very much like in Cork and Hall. I know it's a padded chair. I just don't like the chair shots to the head. Regardless, Konami hits a German suplex and then locks Sorry in the rear naked choke. And the way that this was worked, Rob, like it's like, okay, you just took a chair shot, a German suplex, and a rear naked choke. It looks like Sari's about to get to the ropes, and then Konami pulls her back in, and then she gets the hooks in. And then it looks like Sari's going to go out. And I'm sitting there going, I know we're getting Shuri versus Sari, probably at Dream Queendom. Like that's clearly the match. And Shuri, obviously, on commentating with her and Micah, really, again, I don't speak Japanese, but you can tell they were adding towards the matches. You know, again, you have 2 former red belt champions, 2 former winners of this tournament, the 5-star Grand Prix, on commentary. Their excitement just adding to the match. And I'm sitting there going, are they going to put Konami over? And that's the way it made you feel. Very much like Rina and Azumi. Like, I think Azumi's going over, but they're putting that doubt in, which just adds to the match. And again, great selling from Sari, really putting dangerous Konami over. Really great stuff. The way that it was sold. And then once Sari gets, and especially like when it looked like Sari's getting ready to pass out, the crowd was ready for it. They were ready for, I think it was Daichi to ring the bell. They were like, yes, here it is. We're going to get the belt off this outsider. And they were ready for it. And then Sari gets out. Konami stays on, though, hits a German and a brutal punk kick for a 2 count. And then, but she makes the mistake. She hits the punk kick and then pulls Sari up. I'm like, oh, that's your doom, Konami.
Yeah.
That's
as soon as she did that, if there was any doubt that Sari was winning this match, which I can't imagine there was, this was the moment where you were like, oh, Konami, why?
Yeah, and then Konami comes in with just some. She tries for the spray can. Like, what are you doing? And I get that, because when Momo beat her in Cork and Hall, what did Konami do? She grabbed the spray can and she spray painted her autograph picture, which that's wasted money, Konami. That's wasted merch. What the heck? And then spray paint Sari's face. So it's like, I get it. Like, that's what you're going to go back to.
Sure.
So it's like, I get it. That's the whole gimmick. And then Konami with some stiff slaps. Stiff as those slaps were nowhere near as stiff as those headbutts that Sari planted on Konami. And then she gets the Uranagi, hammerlock Uranagi for the 3 count. 18 minutes was the perfect time to tell this story. Again, this is a long show, but at no means did it feel long, Rob. Rob, I gave this 4 3/4 stars match. 4 3/4. 4 3/4, and it was my 4th favorite match of this show. It was my 4th favorite match. That's how great this show was. What Stardom has done, Rob, in 1 week's time between what we got in Yokohama Budokan on the 16th, Axe City on the 17th, Corkin on Wednesday, and this on Saturday. Within a 7-day stretch, Stardom gave us 4 of the best wrestling shows of the year, which is wild. Absolutely wild. Again, 4 3/4 stars, but only my 4th favorite. If this was the Olympics, it wouldn't even got a medal, Rob. That's how good this show was.
We move on then to the final. Azumi versus Momo Watanabe. And these two, their history goes back years and years. Obviously, we could fill an entire podcast with the history of Azumi and Momo Watanabe, and might well do in the future. But, you know, from their roots in Queen's Quest, their exploits as Momo AZ, winning the Goddess of Stardom Tag League together, and it being Azumi that Momo actually turned on specifically to join as they were then Oedetai. There was a lot of feels going into this match. However, despite all of that, and despite my love for Azumi, Momo Watanabe has been, for large portions of her recent run in Stardom, so downtrodden and so sort of looked past in regard of just passed up for title opportunities, passed up for a place at the Tokyo Dome, passed up time after time after time again. And it was back at the Philly show that we went to, and Momo Watanabe as a heel, and a show that had Tony Storm make a surprise appearance. Momo Watanabe challenging Micah for the red belt had the biggest pop of the show. And we turned to each other and went, oh my God, how over is Momo Watanabe? And then she had a great match with Micah. And it feels like one of the best things that Taro Okada has done has been that slow reconstruction of Momo Watanabe. because it felt like she'd never get to the promised land. Because don't forget, when Io Shirai left, she was the one who nominated Momo as the ace. You already had Mayu as the icon, Momo as the ace. And it felt like Mayu lived up to her potential. Momo hasn't. You know, her white belt run aside. This felt like a moment to put all of that to rest and it not just be another failure in the catalogue of almost moments in Momo Watanabe's history. And I watched this on the train with the jankiest Wi-Fi you've ever seen in your life. But I was determined to watch it. I was determined to watch Momo, and I was hoping for a Momo win. Not just because I'd predicted that she was going to win, but because out of everyone in this tournament, she was the one who'd earned it the most. And I have no problem telling you that there are points in this match that I teared up. And I don't do that all the time. But there's parts of this match that really, really got to me. And the moments that and obviously, we're obviously going to talk about the moment where she stopped Azusa Renaba and Ruaka from attacking Azumi because she has to do this on her own to really fulfill that moment, to really feel like she is justified at winning. You know, it's like during Historic Crossover last year where she threw the bat away instead of using it on Mayu Iwatani. There is good in there. And that good is going to come out, and that's what's really exciting. It's not the white, it's not the black, it's the shades of grey. And the moment that she hit the Peach Thunder, and that this match, I'm sure you're going to go through it and talk about how phenomenal it was. And it was, and spoiler, it was 5 stars from me. It was the journey of Momo Watanabe and this feeling like the catharsis for every Momo Watanabe fan, for every single moment where we've gone, oh, not again. You know, every nearly moment, every red belt fail, every time that she has been sort of 3rd or 4th in her own unit. And now she feels like the top dog in the company, or at least one of, and it feels like it's been earned. And that is so special for her. And for her to do it against someone who she knows so well in Azumi is just an added bonus to what was an absolutely phenomenal 5-star final. And at a time where we are talking about the G1 final and how uninspired the booking for that was, despite apparently the match being quite good. I haven't actually watched the match. But the discourse around it, you then look at this and think, oh my God, this is pro wrestling. This is special. This is the moment. And I will tell you one more thing before we go, before I let you take over, Matt. Obviously, I went to Glasgow to do Dynamite and Collision with Chris, the old host of this podcast, and he hasn't watched a lot of Stardom at all since he left. And we were talking about the 5-star Grand Prix, and he was like, "Well, who's in the final?" I was like, "Well, it's the semi-finals: Momo Watanabe, Azumi, Rina, and Soriano." And there's real buzz that Momo could win, and the boy laughed because that was the discourse around Momo Watanabe. She's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Even when she got through to the final, people didn't believe it. And this is Chris, who hasn't watched it since like 2021. And still he was like, nah, Momo wasn't winning. Momo wasn't winning. So for her to overcome that sort of stigma was just a chef's kiss moment. The way he was executed, chef's kiss moment. It's one of my matches of the year. I was going to say match of the year, then remembered Siren Tam. But it's one of my matches of the year. It's easily my match of the tournament and is the perfect way to cap off what has been a fantastic tournament for a multitude of reasons.
3.25 stars. No, I'm just
the gentleman's 3.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned a lot of people thought maybe Momo wasn't going to pull it off towards the end. At the same time, the Azumi fan base, it wouldn't have like this is a point where it wouldn't have mattered. Like it really wouldn't have. I mean, yes and no. I mean, a lot of the Azumi fan base was like, she was so close. I'm like, do you realize that she's really the ultimate winner coming off this because of what she did in this tournament? Like, I know Momo came with the crown, but like when we go back and look at this tournament, this is Azumi's runs, one of the greatest runs in the history of this tournament. What she did in this tournament, Rob, was unprecedented. And my whole thing was, I don't care who's in the final. There's all great wrestlers. I just don't want my final to have the BS, the hate BS. We've seen it with House of Torture, and last year was the first year with hate. We really didn't get much of it. I'm like, I just don't want. I want to see a straight shootout with Momo and Azumi. Azumi comes out. We got the flashing jacket. I was like, Momo comes out in new gear. And Rob Goodwin, let me tell you something. I said this to Amber on Saturday. On Saturday, I said this. I said, I kind of figured Momo was going to win because she came out with 2 different sets of gear. I said, you understand how difficult it is? She's like, yes, you tell me all the time that you need to change gear when you're sweaty. That is probably harder than the actual match. Let me tell you, it is tough. So she comes out with the gold and white gear. And I'm like, oh, maybe I think Momo's winning. But regardless, I'm not going to look and I want to watch this match as a fan. And I went back and watched this. Like, I think I watched it 2 times. I think I watched this match 3 times already. This is how much I absolutely love this. Literally the point where I was like, I was even thinking maybe I stopped taking notes because I'm enjoying this so much. But you get early on in the match and Tora pulls Azumi. And it's like, and she only really pulled Azumi so Momo they can have their fight on the outside. And Azumi starts winning that fight on the outside. Like, oh no, this is the biggest match of my career. And you can say maybe the white belt match with Starlight Kid, but white belt matches happen every now and again. The finals is only once a year, Rob. Only once a year. Can you name every Wonder Stardom champion? Maybe me and you put our heads together. We could. We can rally off every single 5-star winner pretty quick because it only happens once a year. And you will remember, and Azumi's fighting. So, Momo, I know this is your territory. It was the leader of this faction that put me on the outside. She starts winning this fight on the outside. So I was like, so they're in the ring, about 2 or 3 minutes are going by, and I'm kind of like, okay, I understand why Tora pulled Azumi because Momo's getting babyface chance these last few shows. So maybe they do want to make sure that Azumi's definitely the babyface in this match. So that's what I was thinking, right? And then the match is going. Azumi gets the advantage. And Azumi, we haven't seen Azumi do it in quite some time. I think the last time she did this was against Mayu at the Tokyo Dome. She does the corner-to-corner post dive, which she used to do quite a bit when she was high-speed champion. It's a difficult move to do. She hit that, and I'm like, oh, boy, we haven't seen that in a while. Now here we go. We're ramping up. Really great stuff. We get to the point where Momo gets the advantage. She goes for that draping kick that she hits all the time. If anybody's going to know how to counter it, it's Azumi. She does that. They go on the top rope. They have a top rope fight. Azumi hits the trio roll double stomp, hits the double stomp in the middle of the ring. I thought that was really great stuff. Azumi locks in the arm bar, comes back, a punk kick to Momo's arm. Like, Azumi's just like, you know what? I might outkick Momo in this match. I mean, she damn near tried. Azumi really brought the violence to her. Head kick exchange. Azumi escapes the B driver into the arm bar, into the numero uno. And again, the way, and I'm a big stickler, Rob, you know this. When there's a submission locked in, I want to see if this was a shoot with this end. And I always say with Shuri, when she locks in those submissions, like when she goes for that grounded Suzaku, the way that she transitions certain things, even Inaba with the Inaba strangle. And Azumi, she locks in this numero uno, and she has her foot behind Momo's head. I'm sitting there going, I can see Azumi winning this match with this move. But we got more to go here. This is a great match, but like we're not at the fever pitch yet. How is Momo going to get out of this? And then here comes the hate crate. I was like, okay, now for Azumi fans, we can say, had that not happened, Azumi would have won this tournament. So you can hang your hat on that. And then, Rob, I have a pen in my hand. I'm in this seat. And then we get the interference. And I literally almost snapped this pen because I'm like, oh my God, we got interference again. Oh, like I didn't mind it in the other matches, but I'm like, this is sacred. This is the 5-star final. This is sacred. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Azumi gets thrown in the corner. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. And Azusa and Tora, they go to run in, and Momo stops them. And I was like, I get it. All of the interference is built to this. And I literally thought of you in that moment, Rob Goen. I thought of you. I was like, how upset you were, how it could have been a 5. For me, it was 5 stars with Sari and Momo, which we talked about last week, how it ruined it for you. That's why they did this. And then I'm going to ask you this, Rob, and then I'm going to go back into this match. If Momo and Sari, they went to a regular finish, Momo pinned her, right? No interference or very, very little interference. What if this interference meant that much to you? Because in my opinion, that's what this led to. That was the whole build-up.
All roads lead to the final, don't they? So obviously that's what they were building towards. Obviously, you know, Momo wanted to prove once and for all that she didn't need hate to win every match. Which again, the Sari match, the whole discourse was around the interference. So, you know, they were sort of stacking the deck in that sort of way, weren't they? And I think it was executed pretty damn near perfectly in this match.
Yeah, and again, I think that the whole reason why it was just like you're getting sick. Again, even me, and I'm in this room. My emotions were I was getting ready to snap this pen, and 40 seconds later, I literally had tears in my eyes because how beautiful the moment was. Not only did she stop, Rob, not only did she stop, and I quote tweeted this picture of Star Wars. There's still good left in him, her. Well, obviously, Momo wants. Anytime I can quote Star Wars and pro wrestling, Rob, it's a damn good day. Every day is a good day.
Absolutely,
damn good day. And then not only did she stop that, Azumi runs and drop kicks both of them. Momo never stopped her. And then Azumi starts yelling at Azusa and Tora. She's got her back turned towards Momo. I'm like, okay, Momo's going to drop her on her head. Azumi turns around. I'm like, Momo's going to attack her. She didn't. She didn't stop the drop. She, first of all, stopped the cheating. She let Azumi take them out. Azumi's back was towards Momo. Momo didn't jump her. We're in the middle of this match. And I'm like, okay, as soon as Azumi turns around, it's going to be too late. You're going to see a kick. And she's like, no, get in the middle of the ring. Get in the middle of the ring. And folks, like again, we know we have new listeners to Stardom Cast all the time, and hello and welcome. There's new watchers to Stardom. These two won the 2020 Goddess of Stardom Tag League. When Momo turned heel, it meant most to Azumi because he was the one she turned on. So you have this is a 5-year history story, Rob, and them planting all the interference, it all crescendoed. Whoever's idea this was is absolutely genius. This is long-term booking in the short-term span to the best I've maybe ever seen in 40 years of following this great sport of professional wrestling. And the two of them start throwing down in the middle of the ring. And now the crowd is just like Azumi, Momo, Azumi, Momo. It's like at a point now we don't care who wins because this is just next level. And then, Rob, you know what they do? They play off. Because they wrestled each other at last year's 5-star Grand Prix on night 1. And they wrestled each other on the final night of the 2023 5-star Grand Prix. And they play off those matches from 2 years ago. I'm like, oh my God, they're playing off something 5 years ago with these two being a team. They're playing off something 2 weeks or 4 or 5 days ago with all the interference of Momo. And now we're playing off this. They're just melding the stories together. Really great stuff there. Oh, we get a head kick trade off between the two, which Momo wins. Tequila Sunrise for a 2 count. She goes for the Peach Sunrise. However, it's countered with a Canadian Destroyer and then an underhook Destroyer, and I thought that was going to be the finish. That scores a 2 count. Azumi then takes Momo to the top rope and goes for the top rope Destroyer, which, again, that was pretty much the finish, that of the Azumi Sushi of night 1 of last year's 5-star Grand Prix between these two. So now we're playing off that. Momo blocks that. Momo looks like she's going to hit the top rope B-driver. And, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. I know me and you have pretty much seen every Momo Watanabe match from 2018 until today. I don't think she's ever hit a top rope reverse B-driver. I could be wrong. I don't think she has. That's a difficult move to do, but I'm like, God damn it. If you're going to, sorry for taking the Lord's name in vain. If you're going to do it, do it in this match, right? Do it here. Azumi counters out of it with this insane sunset flip bomb. I thought that was going to be the finish. And then there's a kick out, and even Azumi can't believe it. And then we build and build and build. We get a Momo Watanabe hits a head kick and then a stomp and then a punk kick and a buzzsaw kick. She hits the Tequila Sunrise. She hits the Peach Sunrise, and I'm already going 5 stars. 5 stars. Azumi kicks out. I'm like, oh my God. Now Momo can't believe it. So now the shoe's on the other foot. What a great swing. She goes for the Peach Bomb or the Peach Thunder. We haven't seen that in quite some time because I'm like, what is she going to use to beat Azumi? And she locks her up. I'm like, oh my God, I remember she beat Mayu with this on night 1 of the 2021 5-star Grand Prix. We have not seen this in quite some time. I'm like, this is going to be a great finish. Azumi gets out, Azumi Sushi, and I'm like, oh my God, what a finish. Kicks out, Azumi runs back. She goes, and then Momo catches her, picks her up, hits the Peach Bomb, the Peach Thunder for the 3 count. Rob Goodwin, this is, I believe, my 8th match to break the 5-star rating, for my personal 5-star rating. This is the greatest 5-star match in the history of the 5-star Grand Prix. I watched it again. This was emotion on so much level. If you just watched this match and haven't seen these two wrestle in quite some time, you're still going to love it. But knowing the story, the moment of Momo, stop. I need to do this on my own. The building before that, the building towards the end. This is as good as professional wrestling is. And you're absolutely right, Rob. You talk about Momo finally getting her moment when Kairi left and Io left. Everyone's like, it was Momo and Mayu. It was Momo and Mayu. And when we lost Hana Kimura, it was Momo and Mayu. And when Arisa retired and Kagetsu retired, it was Momo and Mayu. And now, Rob, all Saturday, I was thinking about that match with Momo and Mayu. a historic crossover for the IWGP Championship. And Momo grabbed the microphone and said, Mayu, let's do this together forever. And now you think about it, she probably knew Mayu was leaving. Obviously, Mayu knew she was leaving. She probably just said, come on, let's do this together forever. Kairi left. Io left. Arisa left. Tam's retired. Mayu, who would ever think a year ago Mayu would leave? Who's been the one constant? It's Momo Watanabe. It's Momo Watanabe. And we give all the credit in the world that it's Mayu, right? And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Mayu's not there anymore. Momo is. Rob Goodwin, she's 25 years old. We forget that. She's 25 years old. She gets her moment in front of 2,800 people. The place was ballistic. There was so much levels of storytelling in this match. This is as good as professional wrestling gets. Loud Momo chants, tears in my eyes. I don't know what's happened to me. I cried once out of tears of happiness before I got married. And now I can't even tell you how many times I cry watching wrestling, especially Stardom. And I had tears in my eyes, especially towards that last few minutes. This is as good as it gets, with the exception of Tam and Saya Kamatani. This is my favorite match in professional wrestling all year. This is Momo's best match ever, which is saying something. This is Azumi's best match ever, which is saying something. This is my all-time favorite 5-star Grand Prix match. What Stardom was able to do in this tournament, in this final, is unbelievable. They are riding a wave of momentum, Rob, that absolutely cannot be touched. 5.25 stars. Unbelievable, to the point where Meltzer put something out and he said, I only have enough time watching. What am I watching this weekend? And he had about 100 tweets. Stardom, Stardom, Stardom. By the way, you didn't review, because he does his star ratings on Friday. Everybody gave him the link to Corkin on Wednesday. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Watch Azumi's matches. Azumi put on 4 match of the year candidates, Rob Goodwin, in less than a week, and she did them both back to back. Like what she did, again, pro wrestling is the best sport in the world for many reasons. We just talked about the emotions. You were in tears. I was in tears. Goosebumps all over the place. You're thinking about their relationship 5 years ago. You're thinking about all this interference led to this for her not to interfere against her tag partner, former tag partner and stablemate, and Azumi in Queen's Quest. You're thinking about Queen's Quest, the faction that dissolved a year ago, and we're still talking about it because of what they did in this match. It's storytelling. It's moments on an epic level. Nobody's doing it better than Stardom, Rob Goodwin. This was absolutely fantastic. Now, Rob Goodwin, would you like the points, good sir? The points.
I mean, I feel like this is going to be more emotional than the actual 5-star final, if I'm being blunt.
What did I do with it? I wrote it down. Anywho, I have it here. I thought I wrote it down.
Tension he's building.
Oh my goodness, that's what it is. Hold on, you can hear the pages turning. There it is. So obviously, me and Amber going into this, we both had Azumi beating Momo in the final. So we both got 2 points apiece on that. However, Amber did have Azumi making it to the final. So she picked up an extra 6 points. However, Rob Goodwin, Matt Turner, 136. My beautiful bride, 122. Yes, I know I watch this company religiously. I know I have noted and podcasted every Stardom match since November 2021. And the only Stardom my wife has watched is when we were in Vegas. Yeah. So there you go. There you go, good sir. So
it's a hard-fought win that you've deserved, my friend.
I don't get many wins, buddy. And by the way, I forgot to mention, September 6th is obviously very special because of the next Stardom pay-per-view. It's also very special because I returned to the ring, Rob Goodwin, on September 6th.
Wow.
Yes, back at the comic book convention with me and Andy Header. Unfortunately, I know last year we're going to go as Meltier. Completely forgot about it. So no Meltier. I think we're doing Spider-Man and Punisher. Whatever he wants to do. I don't know.
Boo. No, this 5-star Grand Prix has been incredible for a number of reasons. We've already talked about the amount of talent that's been elevated and stuff like that, but just in terms of the numbers, obviously 14 total events, up from 13 last year. The total attendance over the course of this tournament, bearing in mind there was only one show more than last year, 14,039 people in total have attended 5-star Grand Prix events, which is up from 9,602 in 2024. That's, almost a 5,000 people increase. And considering it's only one show we're talking about as well, that goes to show you just how much the attendance has grown on each of these shows. And if you put them side to side, these shows, there's a massive, massive increase on these shows. And that's illustrated further by the average attendance. 739 the average attendance in 2024. It's 1,003 the average attendance for this tournament, which is the first time a five-star Grand Prix has averaged over 1,000 people per show. Highest attendance, 2,856, up from 2,108 last year. The lowest attendance, 384 this year. It was only 304 in 2024. Every single area, Stardom are moving up. Stardom are going in the positive direction, the correct direction. Just a couple of show notes. Momo becomes the fourth person, as we mentioned, to reach 2 tournament finals after Micah, Utami, and Yoko Bito, becomes the 6th youngest to win the tournament. Her gap between finals 2021 and 2025 is the biggest gap of those that have gone to multiple finals, which again seems to play into the Momo Watanabe character quite well. Azumi becomes the 5th youngest runner-up and the 9th youngest finalist ever. The total attendance of 14,039 is the 3rd highest total attendance of any five-star Grand Prix after 2022, which was 18,239, and 2023, 16,062. But again, those 2 tournaments had more shows than this one. The tournament average attendance of 1,003, as I mentioned before, is the highest average attendance of any five-star Grand Prix. And the Corrigan Hall attendance that we talked about last week of 1,589 for the playoffs and quarterfinals show was the highest Corrigan attendance in five-star Grand Prix history, beating out the previous best of 1,528 in 2022. In every metric, Stardom are improving, and this tournament has blown other tournaments out of the water. And again, I will echo what I said at the start of this review, considering you could argue that Stardom had their backs against the walls a little bit when you think about the talent that they're missing for this tournament, and actually have come out of it infinitely strong. And that's credit to the strength and depth of this roster, which is quite honestly absolutely frightening at times.
Rob Goodwin, correct me if I'm wrong, but Momo Watanabe becomes the 2nd wrestler to Mayu Iwatani to win the Cinderella tournament, the 5-star Grand Prix, and the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. And she won the Goddess twice, one in 2018 with Utami, and then one in 2020 with Azumi. And Azumi and Momo Watanabe, the only final to have the winners of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So, yeah, great stuff. Again, you got to give a lot of credit to the booking and the roster. It was really seemed like they had a game plan. I thought all the booking makes sense. Excellent stuff. And, buddy, I know real quick, you did say this beat out some of the G1 shows this past year in the same building. Unbelievable.
Yep, the 2 G1 shows that ran this year, this Stardom show outdrew it significantly. Now, I know obviously that this was a final and the G1 was just block nights, but even so, New Japan outdraws every other Japanese country, every Japanese company. So to have Stardom outdraw it, and so significantly as well, is quite phenomenal, to be perfectly honest. Before we move on to our top 5s, Matt Turner, it's time. It's 5-star pick'ems time. Who won the 5-star pick'ems? And again, if you get in touch with Matt, he will sort you out with whatever your choice of prize is from our merch store. So the way this worked was you had to pick, the 3 to qualify from each block, all of the quarterfinalists, all of the semi-finalists, the finalists, and then the winner. So it was 1 point for every right answer up until, just let me double check that I've definitely got this right, up until the final, where it was 5 points for each correct finalist, and then it was 10 points for the person who won the tournament. So overall, it was 44 points you could successfully get. Now, just before we do start this, I am going to shout out friend of the show, Terrence Adkins. And the reason is, as I mentioned at the top of the show, he would have absolutely flown this to the point where I think he only got 2 things wrong over the entirety of the predictions. However, for some strange reason, and this is Google Forms' fault, not yours, Terence. For some strange reason, and I'm sure everyone else noticed this, it put the semi-finalists before the quarterfinalists in the question order. And I don't know why it's done that, because I didn't do it like that. So he put his semi-finalists in the finalist bit. So with him picking 4, we couldn't use that question. So Terence, if you could contact Matt as well, we want to sort you something out, because again, you're a friend of the show and you would have won by quite a margin had you done that correctly. So please get in contact with Matt, stardomcast22@gmail.com, or on Twitter, whichever.
Yeah, again, folks, this comes out of my own expense. I absolutely love doing this. So you just let me know if you want something out of our store or one of Rob's books. And again, as we mentioned at the show, congratulations to Darren for getting the Newcastle jersey. So super excited for that. By the way, Rob, what's the score? Still 1-0?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Would it make you feel better if I do my fancy little segment that I told you that I was going to do today?
As soon as I've announced the winner, yes.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I just said Darren Chatton winning the Newcastle jersey. So there you go.
Darren Chatton, by the way, joint second alongside AJ Zyke, which I believe is Andy, who we met in Vegas and in Philly. They both got 31 out of 44. Now, the winner of the predictions this year with 32 out of 44. And again, ladies and gentlemen, for some strange reason, he didn't populate, so I've had to go through and manually input these. So if you found a discrepancy, please contact our HR department. We don't have a HR department, it's Matt. But
my wife.
Yeah, it's Amber. Congratulations to Manu Lopez, M34@gmail.com, who got 32 out of 44. You are our 2025 5-star Grand Prix Pick'ems winner. Well done, Manu. If you want to contact Matt, he will sort you out with your prize. Thank you to everyone that entered. We hope you had a good time. We hope you join us next year for the 2026 Pick'ems. Matt, before we get into our top 5s, would you like to go on to the fun little segment?
Absolutely, Rob Goodwin. As you and a lot of our listeners know, it's been a little tough for Uncle MT. Right before this 5-star started, a man whose music changed my life, one Ozzy Osbourne, has passed away. So my tribute to the Prince of Darkness, I'm going to bring back a little segment we have not done in quite some time.
Lovely.
Ladies and gentlemen, all aboard the crazy train that is the 5-star Grand Prix. I know some fans were a little paranoid by the lack of star power in this tournament, but I think we were all over the mountain of how this tournament turned out. Stardom is definitely flying high again. We didn't know who's going to win this tournament, Rob. It was up in the air. We needed an expert. We needed a detective. Somebody call Perry Mason to figure out who was going to win this tournament. Rob Goodwin, a lot of people thought that Natsupoi was going to win this tournament. I understand. After all, she is a fairy that wears boots.
Oh my God.
However, we were all thrilled to death that one Momo Watanabe finally won the big one. For us Momo Watanabe fans, there are no more tears. There are no more tears. And if you didn't like this 5-star Grand Prix, folks, I will serve you a big rat salad. Thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding. Well done, good sir. Big fan of the fairies wear boots. What's it there? Very, very well done. Right, before we leave you, we've got a couple of our top 5s, just a little bit of a roundup of our own sort of favorite matches, our breakout and our MVP. So, Matt, what we'll do is we'll start with our breakout star, simply because I imagine this is pretty much the same. I do want to start this by saying we could have picked any number of people for this, and to be perfectly honest, it was the same for MVP before the final. But so many members of the Stardom roster have excelled in this tournament. Matt, who did you choose as your 2025 5-star Grand Prix breakout star?
Breakout star for me was Rina, and for one, Andy Header was Rina as well.
I don't feel like it could be anyone else, to be perfectly honest, especially after her performances in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. Excellent tournament for Rina, and again, the sky is quite literally the limit for her. MVP. Who's your tournament MVP? I can probably guess who this was as well.
It was so close before we got to that Corkin show, and then this person just absolutely blew it out of the water. Not only my MVP, not only Andy Hedder's MVP, but this person has jumped up so many spots for my wrestler of the year in all of wrestling. It is Azumi. What she has done, she again, great matches of Starlight Kid, the Natsupoi, regardless of how fast it was great. The two Rina matches, terrific. But her literally having 4 5-star matches, in my opinion, and again, 5.25 star, Momo Watanabe, my all-time favorite 5-star match. Her literally doing that pretty much on almost back-to-back nights, unprecedented. I've never seen it in tournament wrestling before. 100%, it's Azumi. Andy Hedder, Azumi as well.
Yeah, me Azumi as well, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Again, could have picked any number of people during the block stage. I thought Bozilla had a fantastic tournament. I thought Amisori had a fantastic tournament. Natsuko Tora had a really, really good tournament. The likes of Natsupoi, Starlight Kid, Saya Kamatani had great matches. But in terms of consistent output, you've got to give it to Azumi. Just incredible, just match after match, and then just upping the ante significantly with that quarterfinal and playoffs, and then into the semifinals and final. Incredible stuff from her. Now, Matt, in terms of your top 5 matches, go from 5 to 1, and then we'll sort of compare notes.
Yeah, considering Azumi and Starlight Kid just missed my top 5, folks. You're going to probably, then this is how crazy this is. Number 5 is Momo Watanabe versus Sari from the playoff in Cork and Hall. And then, folks, here we go. Number 4, Azumi versus Hanan from Cork and Hall. Azumi versus Rina, the semifinal that we just talked about here from Oda Ward. Number 2, Azumi. Actually, yeah, number 3 was Azumi versus Rina. Excuse me. Number 3 was Azumi versus Rina, the semifinal match. Number 2, from Cork and Hall, the same Cork and Hall, Azumi versus Saya Kamatani. And my number 1, Azumi versus Momo Watanabe. So, again, Azumi taking 4 out of the top 5, 5 out of the top 6 with Azumi and Starlight Kid just missing. Again, I can go through every 5-star Grand Prix. I don't think any other wrestler has had that. And considering Rob, her match, but Natsupoi was a little too short, as well as Natsuko Tora, had those matches gone the time we would have. This still might be, I'd really have to think about, this might be, as far as match quality goes, I think Azumi might be, this Azumi run might be the greatest of all time. Really, I mean, just unbelievable what she was able to do.
I mean, to no one's surprise, I mean, Azumi's picked up 3 of the 5 spots, and it's the top 3 of the 5 spots that I've got available. I couldn't agree more, Matt. I think she's been tremendous. And again, I want to echo what I said about Armani Shoe Exchange's tweet. I think she has leveled up significantly. You know, she is no longer just a high-speed wrestler, a very, very exciting high-speed wrestler. She is able to weave those narratives, tell those stories, and that's made her a completely different animal, which again is going to bode so well for Stardom when you consider she's 22. You know, we've got her, we've got Starlight Kid, we've got Tomoka Rinaba if she sticks around, we've got Rina, we've got Hina, we've got Sayaka Kurora, Aya Sakura, we've got all these names, all this youth and talent coming through. Hanan, who we haven't even mentioned, which is madness. You know, all these great names. Stardom are in very safe hands. In terms of my top 5, I actually have to say Oriano and Bozilla as my number 5. I thought that was a fantastic match and a perfectly executed time limit draw. Really, really great match. Sari and Momo Watanabe, number 2. Electric Boogaloo was number 4. I'd be really intrigued, though, to know where that would have placed had we not quite had the same amount of interference, even though it's played into the final. And then number 3, Azumi and Saya, I thought was, again, you know, what can I say that I haven't already said about that match? Fantastic stuff. And to get Corrigan Hall, that molten heart over you, again, goes to show just how good the match was. Azumi and Rina as number 2 and Azumi and Momo as number 1 for all the reasons we've already outlined. Absolutely phenomenal tournament, capped off by 3 really, really good matches. Because let's not forget, of course, that Momo and Sauriano was also a really good match, but that's been buried under the avalanche of excellent match, which is, you know, the pitfalls of tournament wrestling. You know, it's what we used to say about the G1. Every year there'd be phenomenal matches and you'd forget about them because there's just so many great matches being thrown at you day after day after day. But no, this has been a tremendous tournament and one that's going to live long in the memory and has set a lot of stuff heading into the future of Stardom in motion, which is perhaps what is most exciting.
You want Andy Header's top 5.
Always.
And most importantly, best hair and best gear. So obviously I'll end with best gear and best, because that's what we're building towards, Rob. So number 5, Bozilla versus Saya Ida. Number 4, Azumi versus Starlight Kid. Number 3, Suzu versus Sari, which we are getting on the 6th. So number 2, Azumi versus Saya Kamatani. Number 1, Azumi versus Momo Watanabe. So we all have Azumi versus Momo Watanabe. It just seems like every year, especially from like 2021 on, the finals is one of, if not the best matches of the entire tournament, which is just really great how it's been built. Rob Goodwin, again, not me. No offense to you, not Meltzer, not Alvarez. Nobody can do the best hair and the best gear. So the best gear. Would you like to take a guess who Andy Header has the best gear?
Well, I feel like Bea Priestley needs mentioning for the fact that she'd talk about 25 different types of gear to Japan, which is quite impressive. I am going to go SLK.
That would have been mine.
This is why we don't know, though. This is why we're not good.
We don't know. We don't know that. We can talk about the moves and the psychology and the storytelling. I mean, you crying. Ami Sori has best gear.
Okay, yeah.
Best hair, I would have went with Starlight Kid as well, because the pink mask with the blue tips I thought was great. Ooh. However, the person he has best hair.
Hang on, let me guess. Let me have my guess first.
Go ahead.
Tomoka Inaba.
That's a good one. He has Rina.
Yes, the extensions, of course, and that's where all her power comes from. Clearly,
well, yeah, because she put them in and she made it all the way to the semifinals. So technically, we know that Momo won the tournament. We know that Azumi has really cashed in and has become a huge star, one of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling this year. But maybe Rina's the biggest winner because she wins Andy Header's best hair, Rob Goodwin, and that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, my friend.
It's what we're all after. Now, Matt Turner, in a bizarre turn of events, there's actually, as you mentioned, no Stardom action this weekend at all. So next week's episode going to be very, very short as we look ahead to, Stardom to the world. I also believe that there's no Io and Kairi watch this week.
No, because we are recording on a Monday, and this happens a little bit later. So we will have our Io and Kairi watch next week, as well as our previews for the Cork and Hall show and Stardom to the World, which is an absolute just loaded card. So, yeah, no Io and Kairi watch, but we got a lot of really great. This was great. This is really good stuff. So apologies, no Io and Kairi watch again as we're recording this. It is Monday. So next week we'll be back with Io and Kairi watch. And obviously, we will preview the 2 shows. So a little light on the Stardom cast next week. A little breather, not only for the roster, but for me and you as well, buddy.
Absolutely. The post 5-star breather is always welcome, even though I've not known what to do with myself with the lack of 5-star shows recently. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to change feeds, change subscriptions. You'll be looking for the Stardom cast new, not the Stardom cast archived, because once we've got everything sorted, the Stardom cast archived will be deleted so that we can sort of start afresh with the new feed. Thank you so much to everyone that has already listened and already subscribed and just basically interacted with us, and we massively appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, check out Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all of the news, reviews, and all of the good stuff coming out of Stardom and Marigold as well. Loads of tiers and things like that for every single price band. So make sure to have a good look round there. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, apart from Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, where we are at Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sounds off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram, and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or folks, you can shoot me an email. The email simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's to wrap it up for another fun-filled episode, 5-star edition of the Stardom Cast. Folks, and don't forget, for the winners, send me a message as soon as possible and let me know what you want, and I'll get your gear. Again, if you want one of Rob's books or if you want something from our merch store, just let me know and I'll get that out to you ASAP. But folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you because, like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. And as we're all together, and everybody's different, everybody's special.